All right, notice is hereby given that a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of San Diego, Texas will be held on Thursday, January 9th, 2025 at 6:30 PM at City Hall, 22870 Priest Road, San Diego, Texas, where a quorum of the City Council will be present. All agenda items are subject to action. You could join at the Zoom link provided in the meeting agenda or on the website. The public will be permitted to offer public comments in person, telephonically, or by audio as provided by the agenda and as permitted by the presiding officer during the meeting by signing up with the city secretary at least 15 in advance of the meeting. If providing comments in person, and at least 2 hours in advance of the meeting by emailing the city secretary at cityofsandioaks.com or by calling 210-607-0834 if speaking telephonically or by audio. An audio recording of the meeting will be made and will be available to the public in accordance with the Texas Public Information Act upon written request. Madam Secretary, may I have a call to order and a quorum call, please?
Sure, Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado.
Here.
Alderwoman Mountain Madero.
Here.
Alderman Tribbley.
Here.
Alderman Fillinger.
Here.
Alderman Rapino.
Here.
And City Secretary is here, and City Attorney is actually going to be zooming
Is she online?
in.
Okay. Good evening.
Yeah.
All right, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas
State
under God, one indivisible.
I didn't have my cheat sheet. Why can't I remember that?
Yeah, me either.
All right. Citizens to be heard, persons wishing to speak may sign up with the city secretary in the time and manner as indicated above. Madam Secretary, do we have anybody signed up to speak?
Nobody has signed up.
Okay. All right, moving right along. Mayor announcements and administrator updates. Hazardous road conditions on Water Pass. So I did reach out to Playa Enterprises and advised them that we have a situation down there where they need to add more riprap. Unfortunately, it was dry that day or those few days. So I'm going to use this opportunity to make another phone call, take some pictures, and really get out there. Me and the Public Works Director did go out there actually yesterday, the day before. And it seems they applied a fencing because I think it was there's some dumping going on already back there. So
So you're talking about the new subdivision at the end of?
that way, Waterwood.
Oh, that
Yeah,
way, okay.
Waterwood. So they added a fencing, but yeah, I'm going to use this opportunity because when I drove out of there, my truck was full of mud. So I know that their 18-wheelers and stuff like that are going to be full.
You went in?
Yeah, yeah. And almost got stuck, but four-wheel drive to the rescue. So that was fun. Let's see here. As far as ETJ extension, so we did speak to the city of San Antonio, and again to the investor down there. That is currently now in negotiation. So what I mean by that is, city of San Antonio wants to know what they're going to get in return for allowing us to have that. So
To have what?
to have that down there because that's within their ETJ. So they're going to release it to us and they want something in return. So me and Cassandra, the city attorney, are asking what they're going to ask for, and then we'll bring it to the council and then we'll see where, if we can meet in the middle, if it's worth it. But so just be prepared for that conversation. But we'll see what they value it at, what some alternatives are. They did say they could do a bit of a barter. They did say they could take some tax payments to be compensated for the value that they're going to lose initially. So there's a couple of different options, but we'll talk through that likely on the next meeting. But I brought it up to Cassandra that they're not receiving anything anyways right now. So they're looking at the future value.
And it's landlocked.
Correct.
So if they annex it, okay, then we're going to have to support city services through our street.
Correct. So
Yeah.
we'll talk about that some more.
They'll end up giving us something.
Right.
Yeah,
So
the-
that was just their initial response back was, what are you gonna give to us? So we'll talk about that some more in the next agenda. Yeah. All right, so moving on, financial report questions from December. Delma, did you have those prepared?
So the $900 that was questionable was those machines for the filling up of the check center. And they sent us 6 and we didn't order anything. And, so that was reversed. And on that 7425 on the back charge, he's still researching because our rep, our Chase rep didn't know what that was exactly. But
Yeah.
it says a bank charge, but he doesn't know what for.
And we met with him on Monday, due to the holiday schedule, so. All right, and then, I can skip on that one. Just as a heads up, we did receive, so I applied for a small grant for illegal dumping cameras, so we did win those. We'll get 3 posted up. We provided 3 locations throughout the city, and we'll receive those next week. They're planning to come in and, ACOG, Alamo Area Council of Governments, and do a little PR tour showing that we have them, and we're gonna put them up, so that's on the 18th, I believe? 16th? Okay, yeah, 16th, which is Thursday, I think. Okay, the 16th. But I'll let y'all know too, so that way if y'all wanna come, you're more than welcome to. And then next week, we have Red Mountain Road. We have the pre-construction meeting. So again, I can invite y'all to that. It's really just to kind of sit down with the contractor and our engineer and talk through the next steps. So that's gonna be hot and heavy pretty quickly as long as weather permitting. And then lastly, for my announcements, Loman and Hilltop is starting again. They're picking back up now after the holiday break, so you'll see a little bit more activity on that road. And I think we've agreed to do the barricades, no longer the bollards, right? I think that was the metal railing, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so look forward to that in the next few days, so. Okay, but other than that, that is all the updates and announcements that I have. So moving right along, consent agenda, all matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine by the city council of the city of Sandy Oaks and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, the item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Whoever does make a motion, please strike agenda item 5B as it's not available at this time. Gotcha.
Make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
No, not presented.
To approve.
No.
No.
Not presented because we're missing B,
Oh,
5B,
oh, I see.
excluding 5B.
Excluding 5B.
A second.
All right, I have a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado and a second from Alderman Fillinger to accept the consent agenda as presented minus agenda item 5B. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, thank you. Moving right along. Agenda item 6A, the income and expenses for December 2024 will be reported by City Secretary Delma Doyle with possible discussion and action. Ma'am, you have the floor.
Thank you. Statement beginning balance in the general fund was $302,011.57. Checks and payments cleared were $106,520.66. Deposits and other credits cleared were $355,862.22, with a statement ending balance as of 12/31/2024, $551,353.13. There's uncleared transactions as of which of 12/31, which is $284.73. That one, I think, was actually the fuel, the pilot fuel for the department, well, actually, for City Hall, and Police Department, and patrol. And other than that, then we have the ARPA fund, And it started out as beginning balance of $103,631.08. And there was no activity, so it stayed with the same balance. And actually, sorry, yeah, that was that awful one, so. And then the TDA started out at the beginning balance as $13,544.20, and there was no activity on that one as well, so that was just the same.
You will notice some transactions written in. Still trying to figure out why we can't physically type them in. Some areas allow it, but just how it falls into the QuickBooks systems. The notes that we put in there don't flow into the transaction report, so that's.
But it is noted somewhere in the system,
Correct.
sir,
Yes, ma'am.
what these are.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am. That is
that would be my concern. And I did notice that there's one gap under saws that wasn't
Yes.
written in.
Yes, I couldn't figure out what that was, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit more
So
research.
that's another one you need to
Yes.
look at. And then if I could ask another question, please, on the top of the second page, there's a $1,762.50 payment to someone named Frank Dixon,
Yes.
That's the judge.
the judge. Yes, we did approve him last time.
Mm-hmm.
That's why that name sounded familiar.
If there are no other questions, I move that we accept the financial report as presented.
If you could also
Yeah.
say minus the one that's missing a comment, so.
1203.
Pending further research on the missing item.
Did somebody second?
I'll second his move.
All right.
Motion.
All right, I have a motion by Alderman Fullinger and a second by Alderwoman Madero to accept the financial report as presented pending the investigation into the $1,203 transaction. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, moving right along. All right, received brief from Alderman Rapino on quarterly investment report with possible discussion and our action. Sir, you do have the floor.
Okay, the investment report for the fourth quarter of FY 2023 was, we had a modest gain of $1,700.03, which is not bad. That covers the time period from October 1st through December 31st of 2024. Are there any questions about that? If not, I move that we accept that report if there are no questions.
I second that, sir.
Thank you.
All right, I got a motion from Alderman Rapino and a second from Alderwoman Madero to accept the investment report as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed.
And Delma, your signed copy is over here.
Okay, you got it.
Thank you.
Great.
Okay.
All right, moving right along, guys. 7B, discuss and or possible action. Actually, yeah, let's go ahead. Let's knock it out since we're here. Discuss and or possible action on Resolution 2025-217, appointing an investment policy, delegating responsibility and authority, and designating an investment officer. So annually, we do need to create this resolution. My only adjustment that I would make is that instead of just Tom Rapino, that we have a delegate to act in his behalf or act in conjunction with Mr. Rapino, Alderman Rapino, should he be not available. And that is open up for suggestions. Anybody would like to raise their hands and be the alternate investment official, they can raise their hand certainly, or we can appoint. I would appoint Monica Madero as an alternate.
Yeah, I think she would really be, she's professional and she would do a great job.
I would accept that nomination, should the city agree.
There would be training required. You don't have to take it now. There is one.
She has a year to do it.
She has a year to do it. There is one in the next couple of months in College Station.
But there also is one in December at downtown San
Typically
Antonio.
locally, yeah, or relatively local.
But clarify what that training entails.
Investment policy.
No, in time, in terms
Public
of
Funds
time.
Investment
Oh,
Act.
it's the 6th and the 7th, right? So I
So
remember,
it'd be a full day.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it
being
is a full
full-time
day.
employed, I
Yeah.
would need to take vacation days to coordinate that.
and we would accommodate your hotel and your fuel, and you could take one of the vehicles, or the one vehicle that we have that can really get out of here. So, but either person would be afforded that opportunity if they need to take the training now.
But in December of this coming year, which is a whole year almost, it'll be downtown San Antonio, and it's a day and a half, and it's much better training
In
than,
person.
yeah, and it's usually in the Menger Hotel, right down there. And that's the one I always go to. You have to take it every 2 years. It's much more in-depth, and you learn a lot.
Yeah, but I need to coordinate with my employer. My
Yeah,
employer full-time.
and it's
That's
usually
enough
on a
time.
Friday, a Thursday and a Friday, but a half day on Friday, but really, it's like the first 2 hours of Friday.
That's not a decision that needs to be made tonight. You would accept the nomination?
And you also can do it online, but it's crummy.
As long as I have that option as a backup plan, so as not to take,
And you
be
can do it
required
online.
to take the time
Yeah.
off. Because I, as you said, I prefer to do it in person in that class in December.
I've done it both ways, and the online course sucks.
As long as I have
Pardon my-
that as a backup plan, should I be
Yeah.
unable to take the time off,
Yeah.
then yes, Mr. Fillinger, I would accept that nomination.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion that Monica, Alderwoman Monica is, the backup
Okay.
investment officer.
I have a motion from Alderman Rapino. Do I have a second?
I'll
Need to,
second.
all right, amend the resolution to add
Correct.
a alternate
Correct.
under section 3, and then name her.
Yes, sir. You wanna-
So you're writing that out so our city attorney can
Yep, and or,
insert the verbiage?
so
Okay.
it'll read Tom Rapino and or Monica Madero.
Okay. Then I think the motion should be, because we've now
Amended the resolution.
amended the resolution.
Okay.
I think the motion should be, I move that we appoint Tom Rapino and/or Monica Madero as the investment authority.
I hate to make a motion to appoint myself.
All right,
So why don't you do it,
Alderman
Charles?
Fillinger made a motion to appoint Tom Rapino and or Monica Madero as the investment officer. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, from Alderman Tremblay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, moving
Now we
right.
don't we have to approve the resolution? or-
Yes.
That's the next one.
Okay.
All right, so now the motion will be to accept the resolution
That's amended.
2025-217.
I move we adopt resolution number 2025-217, a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Diego, Texas, approving an investment policy, delegating responsibility and authority, and providing for an effective date.
I'll second that.
The effective
Oh.
date to be after
Um,
the revised resolution is signed by the mayor.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion by Alderman Fillinger and a second from Alderman Rapino to adopt resolution number 2025-217, a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Diego, Texas, approving an investment policy, delegating responsibility and authority, and providing for an effective date after It is signed by the mayor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, moving right along. Agenda item 8A, updates and announcements from Public Works Director Priscilla Schmidt with possible discussion and interaction. Ma'am, you have the floor.
Good evening, council. Update on the 4-ways and the 3-ways on New Mathis and just basically New Mathis. We are, we have all of them up and operating except for Hickory Shadow and New Mathis. Because of the weather, we have not been able to complete that.
And the holidays. And the holidays. The holidays as well.
Yes, and also the holidays has been a huge delay. But hopefully the weather permitted, we will be able to finish this project up Tuesday.
Why did we put one up, excuse me, why did we put one up on Dragon Rock?
Why didn't?
Why did we?
The four the 4 sites located on New Mathis are in alignment with the with Southside ISD's high stops.
Oh, okay.
High
All right, I
occupancy
just
stops.
wondered because, it's only,
Yeah, but it's an alignment with their bus stops that are pretty
Okay,
high
all right,
occupancy.
okay. Just wondered.
Also, there was a list of things that was handed to us the other day for the community center, and we finished up that list effective today. Quite a bit of things needed to be repaired at the community center, so those have all been taken care of.
Thank you.
Not a problem. And if there's anything else that the community center is needing, if they could reach out to me, that would be greatly appreciated, so the list isn't as long.
To that point, Tom, I'm gonna assign Raylene a city email, so that way, as
Okay,
things
good.
come up,
Yeah,
she can reach
yeah,
out directly.
She needs to be able to communicate.
We text and she sends me through her personal email, but yeah, we can get her a city email. We have an extra one, so.
Okay.
I also have placed an order, it should come in hopefully next week, but roughly about in a week or two, we should have some of the reflector lights for our new stop signs going down New Mathis.
Flashing lights.
The flashing lights, the yellow ones and the red ones. So that has already been purchased, I'm just waiting for them to come in so we can actually install those. So that will help tremendously, especially for those that are new to the community, didn't know they were there, and at night, that would help light that area up. And I think that's pretty much it that we've got right now.
I don't know if this pertains to Public Works, but did we reach out for more lighting or CPS?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not really a part of it, but yes,
Yeah.
I did. In fact, she just emailed me today. She's getting me the map. So within the next couple of meetings, hopefully I hope to have it here, and then we can do a public town hall. That way people can kind of give their input.
Or New Mathis?
Well, it's everywhere. It's
Oh,
the whole
everywhere.
city. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
So CPS will
I was
present-
thinking we had spoken in regards to New Mathis.
Oh, got you. No. This is citywide. So they'll
Okay.
provide a map that shows all the lighting, and then we'll be able to look at it from a bigger perspective and see where we think some gaps are.
Okay.
So, but yeah. Any other questions? All right, thank you, ma'am. All right, moving right along. So at this time, we are going to pull agenda item 9B as our ACO is not here today. She is out under the weather. But I do want to address 9A, just one small item. I know we only have a few dogs in the kennels, but a company that we work with pretty regularly called Austin Pets Alive, and what is called Best Friends. Is that right? They've reached out and they're actually going to sponsor a conference attendance, a conference ticket for Ashley and Cassandra. It is in California, but it is a national conference that they've been invited to learn how to better engage with the community, how to do grant research, how to address people, and so they've covered everything for Ashley, but we will have to take on some of the costs for Cassandra. We think it would be a good opportunity for both of them to really, because it would be okay for just Ashley to go, but I think to have both of them there, they're gonna grab something that the other one may miss. And I think it's gonna be a good opportunity for both our animal control officers to really
Where in California?
Palm Springs. So
How long is that conference?
it is Thursday through Saturday?
Yeah, Thursday afternoons,
Yeah.
dinner.
When is this, and do we know how much they're paying for and how much the city will be responsible for?
February, it's in February, and they've already sent us a check for $2,200, which covers all of Ashley's accommodations. We are responsible for the flights for Cassandra, flight for Cassandra, and that's basically it. Flight was like $500. We do have training budgets specifically for, and the one argument you could say is, well, that budget is to get her certified to be ACO, but that training's only a couple $100, so it would still be within our budget.
And we have a full year after she
Yes,
is appointed
to get her,
to get that certification.
yes.
So we're only paying the airfare.
Yep, they're gonna share rooms.
Well, that-
They've agreed to share rooms.
Well,
And that was, yeah, that was kind of what we were leaning towards. I don't necessarily like to recommend that, but they agreed to do it. So I was on board with it when that was the case, so,
She must really been getting it.
yeah. Yeah. All right, that's all the announcements that I have for animal control, unless Chief, you got something? No? Okay. All right, moving right along. Updates, announcements from Chief Waters with possible discussion and action. Sir, you have the floor.
Updates and announcements. Officer Palomares is now off FTO. He got off FTO right the week of Christmas. She's on her own, fully on her own now. The officer that we were planning on hiring for the mental health position has been cleared and is taking his physical and drug test tomorrow, so he should be coming on board soon. We did get notice that we are going to be audited by CGIS February the 18th, so that hit me by surprise. I wasn't expecting it to be that soon, but I knew it was eventually going to come.
You said February
Yes.
February the 18th.
18th.
So CGIS will be here to audit our facility and our records and everything we got. And then I do want to just let you guys know, Officer Palomares and Investigator Alvarez, on Christmas Day, we had a 14-year-old runaway. Turn off his phone, he'd been missing, everybody's been worried. Investigator Alvarez got a warrant for a cell phone key, and they were able to recover the 14-year-old and return him safely home. So, good job on them, proud of those guys for doing that. Some of the CPS was trying to do, they couldn't get it done, but we got it done. So, let you guys know about that. And we recovered him yesterday.
Thanks.
That's all I have as far as updates and announcements.
Any questions on? Okay. All right. Let's move right along. Presentation of monthly report by Chief Waters with possible discussion and action. Sir, you have the floor once again.
So, on the monthly report, I'm sorry I didn't change up there, it still says November. I thought I'd change that, but these are the December calls. I'll go right down the line. Business alarms, Bexar County had 2. Fire alarms, Bexar County 1. Residence alarms, we had 1, Bexar County took 4. Assaults, Bexar County took 2. EMS assists, we took 4, Bexar County took 1. Assist fire department, we took 1, Bexar County took 3. Burglary of a vehicle, Bexar County had 1. City ordinance violations, we conducted 28. Civil matter custodies, Bexar County 2. Civil matter property, Bexar County 4. I skipped civil matter keep the peace, that was 1 by Bexar County. 1 crash non-injury, Bexar County took. Credit card, debit card abuse, Bexar County 1. Criminal mischief, we had 2, Bexar County 1. Damaged property, Bexar County 3. Disturbances, family disturbances, we took 2, Bexar County took 8. Noise disturbance, Bexar County took 7. Verbal disturbances, we took 1, Bexar County took 4. Disturbance shots fired, Bexar County took 18, we took 1. Emergency detentions, Bear County took 3. EMS calls, Bear County 7, that's EMS only. False report to a police officer, Bear County had 1 of those. Fire, there was 10 fire department called out. Harassment cases, Bear County took 2. Information reports, we took 3, Bear County took 9. Injured sick person report, Bear County took 3. Lost property, Bear County took 1. Missing person, Bear County took 1. Narcotic investigations, Investigator Alvarez did 1. Officer initiated activity, we took 1, Bear County 2. Patrol by request, Bear County 9. Reckless driver, Bear County 1. Runaway, 1, that was ours. He's now recovered, but it was in December when he ran away. Suspicious activity, 1 for us, 1 for Bear County. Suspicious vehicle, 1 for us. Theft reports, 2 for us, 2 for Bear County. Threat reports, 1 and 1. Traffic hazards, 2 Bear County. Welfare checks, 2 for us, 8 Bear County. 911 hangups, we took 1, Bear County took 16. As it's been since I got here, we're consistently around the 200 range of calls for the city of Sandy Oaks. Again, we were at 199 this past month. We're taking a lot more now, obviously, that we got more people coming on. We took 56 calls. Bear County took 143. Traffic stops made by the officers this past month were 74. Bear County did 2 traffic stops within our city. We did 74. So we're by far doing more proactive patrol than Bear County is within the city. And then Lieutenant Alvarez closed 8 cases for prosecution last month.
Any questions?
I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
And I'm trying to find it. EMS costs 7, that's, and then the fire 10. The fire department always, well, they usually appear before EMS. So the 10 calls that we're looking at were 7 of those EMS assists.
So where I have EMS assist up top, that's if either us or a deputy responded with EMS to assist EMS. As like we had four and Bear County had 1 on EMS assist, we had 1 assist fire department. So a EMS call came out, we had an officer on duty, they responded out there, assisted EMS. The majority of the time, if we're not working, Bear County will very seldom go out to an EMS call. They just dispatch EMS by themselves. So down here on the on the further down section where I have EMS calls and fire calls, I list that just so that you guys just are aware of the calls that are coming in as far as emergency type calls for fire or EMS, but not necessarily police. So those calls, no officer responded to those calls. Those are calls that either EMS responded to only or fire only. Now I think if you're asking, did fire respond with EMS to those calls, and that's why they have a call of 10?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to tell you. It's listed only as fire and not fire/EMS. So
Okay.
it's listed only as fire on
Well,
the Bear
I'm
County
concerned because if we're having
fires,
10
right?
fires,
So sometimes they get called out just because it's a smoke alarm that went off.
and like I say, they normally when you call EMS, the fire department feeds them here.
Correct.
Every time I've ever seen an ambulance here, the fire truck got there first. So
It is a possibility, but I know on the Bear County report that they gave us, it says
I'll
just
talk to our
EMS.
commissioner and ask him, break this down for us. So, if they're responding to 10 fires, then we obviously need to step up.
Or 10 fire calls, like say, it could have been smoke detector, fire alarm, something to that effect, and then they went out there, but that wasn't a need for EMS to go, it was only for fire to go. I know we did have a couple of brush fires, because they literally listed brush fire, that they responded to, or somebody may have been burning something and they got called out there and they had permit. I know that happened one time because I went out there, they had permission from the fire marshal to burn. fire department showed up and then left, right? But that was a fire call. That was one call where we assisted fire because we went out, fire went out.
Okay.
But some of those calls are like that, where people are either burning something, they show up, EMS doesn't go at all.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I have a comment or suggestion maybe. You know how you put on, under disturbance, you have several disturbance but different
County
types?
ordinance, yes.
And then civil matters? Would it be possible to get the city ordinances like that? Like list, 10 were for junk cars or whatever, something like that, just so that I could get an idea of what
What they're going out there, so I guess I can, let me see how that works.
Because it wouldn't be 28 entries, it would be like 10 of them would be junk cars, you know?
Right, so, I'd have to, I know that if it's not a citation written, it doesn't go to Catherine, so she only has citations, right? So
Right.
I'd have to see, what I can ask them to do is list every one that they're writing, put it in my box so I can keep a tally of what they're writing, right?
Well, because you got the information that there was 28,
Right.
that
but
was
just
that was
from a
citations.
count? Just because they gave you a count?
No, because they checking out with county. All this comes through the dispatch
Right.
from the county.
Right.
So they, on the county, it'll literally list city ordinance, Sandy Oaks PD was out there, but it doesn't say what.
Specific.
It doesn't say what city ordinance they were out there for.
I
whether
understand.
Grass or junk car. So I would have to get with the officers, tell them, hey, from now on, every city ordinance you write it on your daily, what it was, put it in my box so I can have a count at the end of the month. It's just asking them to do a little something different, because it's not coming out over the radio.
Right, but on their
Notice of violation.
on their
that they're leaving
reports
on the
to
door.
you afterwards, right? They write a report after every,
After every notice of violation,
no,
After
after
every
every
shift.
tour. After every
shift,
shift.
they have what's called a daily log. of what
Right.
They did, right? So it'll just say from city ordinance, like this time, city ordinance violation, this time, traffic stop, this time, working on report number, and I have a report number, but I can tell them, hey, I need a specific city ordinance violation that you were working on.
I just thought since it was fresh on their mind at the end of their day,
Yeah, they can put it on there.
You know.
Gonna have to ask them to put it on.
just,
Yeah, don't wanna make
Yeah.
more work. So,
No.
like, you have 74 traffic stops. We don't need to know
No,
that this
right.
one was for running a stop sign, one was
Exactly.
for speeding, one was for
I
not
would-
wearing a seatbelt.
you know, if it's
I don't
not
think we need to
simple,
know all
yeah,
of
if
that.
it's not simple, then.
Don't wanna make more work for them either.
No, of course not.
Or you, I mean,
Because eventually, as we get more officers, right, so that, those city ordinance violations, I don't see why they're not gonna be at the same numbers that we're having like traffic stops right now, right? So those numbers are gonna be a lot of numbers for them to try and, at the
Right.
end of every shift, keeping track of, and then I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to keep track of for the entire month.
Right,
But what I guess we, maybe another thing we can do, and I haven't checked because I don't get copies of them, are the, notice of violations, are they carbon copied?
We should.
They are carbon copied, right? Because I know we left one today for that dog, so I guess I can ask them to put the original notice of violation in my box, and that should tell me exactly what it is.
No,
Because they're leaving the pink copy on the door.
Yeah.
I think it should be though, just in their daily logs, right?
yeah,
And all they gotta do is list the ordinance number, right? It doesn't have to be any other details other than it was
because they'll have that.
2024, 245, right?
They'll have that,
Right,
yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah, so I think that would make it the simplest, and what you can do is set up like a share sheet to where they don't even have to leave it on your door, they could enter
All
the data
listed.
in.
At the end of shift.
So, but we can talk through that, we can figure out a plan,
Just,
get it spread out.
just wondering.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions? All right, so let's move right along. Parks and Recreation updates and announcement from Park Advisory Committee Chair Alderman Rapino with possible discussion and action. Sir, you have the floor.
Okay, we had the Parks Committee meeting on the 7th, which was last Tuesday. I invited the mayor to discuss his visions for the parks for this coming year, 2025. We also discussed things that went well and went bad for the park in 2024. And mainly that discussion was about the community center and things that went well. We did discuss some of the problems with the community center, which Priscilla has already fixed. And the mayor discussed what he would like to see in 2025. And we will hold our next meeting this first Tuesday in February.
5:30 p.m. 5:30 p.m.
5:30 p.m.
First Tuesday is February 3rd,
February 3rd.
5:30.
My phone timed out, so I,
Hey, Tom, if I could ask, just, so you had, the mayor went down and you talked about the park. Is there any, I'd like to see each year, you know, there's a budget for the park.
say that again?
There's a budget for the park each year within the budget. Is it possible maybe we look at adding some type of a new activity or something each year, not taking on a big responsibility all at once, but let's say, let's put a new slide in, or let's, I don't know, what we got, 25,000 a year in there, or something like that, 25,000?
No, it's not that much.
No,
It's
we're
like
not.
Used to be. Okay.
7 or
We
8
don't have
grand.
much.
7, 8
money.
grand. So if we look at maybe putting a pad down for skateboards, or we put some new those little things with the springs to do the little
Yeah.
something
Yeah,
that if we just
we-
add a little something each year rather than, because I mean we haven't really done anything other than paint
To
the
improve.
stuff that's there.
Yeah.
You know, we put slapped some paint on it. We fixed the benches, painted the picnic tables, small stuff like that. But if we could add some type of activities or
Well,
or
we'd
things
like
that-
to do a lot of things,
but within the budget. I mean,
yeah,
Right.
7 or 8 grand isn't a lot to
I know.
do a lot of things with.
So we did talk about,
Yeah, we did talk about some
we talked
major
about
things.
actually revitalizing the,
Playground,
not the playground, the golf course, the mini
of
golf.
course, yeah, we did. But
You know, maybe trying to revamp that, so that way, because that's in a shaded area, that would get, I think, a lot of activity. We also did talk about adding, especially during the summer, like gaming stations, right? Adding a TV and a Xbox or a PlayStation, so that way kids during the summer that are stuck at home come to the park, they play video game, they come play basketball, then they can go into the community center, as long as somebody's staffed there to come in and cool off. Right? Give them an opportunity to come in, so that way they can see the benefits that we provide, and not just they're doing the vandalism in the evening. So,
But if we did the
and you go,
the golf course, that would eat our budget up right there.
yeah, but that would be separate.
Yeah.
Like the city would have to take that on,
Yeah,
not
I
so
know,
much.
most of the things to do like Dave is talking about would eat our budget immediately.
got to
and
take
leave
small
us-
bites.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, yeah, because, you know, playground areas and things in the park takes big
Even the
bucks.
walking trail, there's some areas in the
I
walking
mean,
trail where it's very soft sand, where you
We
walk
talked
through, we
about
probably
the
put some hard surfaces.
paving, that would be $1 million.
Yeah,
Don't know if
Yeah.
you guys noticed Public Works, the 1/8 mile marker. It looks like you could see the tire tracks. It was a few days ago, last time we walked. You could see the tire tracks where somebody drove down and just knocked that sign over. I stood it up and put the concrete blocks, set some of the concrete back in there. So I don't know if you guys noticed that. I meant to bring it up to you. But it needs to be put back in.
Yeah,
Some
and actually-
concrete, but just little things.
We used to
some
get a lot
improvements.
done with volunteers, but
those are far and few.
that
Okay.
dried up real quick,
Just a thought.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But along that lines, I
Three of the
did.
volunteers
We
are right
did,
here.
we did look into, I did look into paving, in fact, and extending the walkway to like kind of the more rural area of the park. That was through TxDOT grant. Now, as I got more into more discussion, they were really looking for non-recreational usage, meaning like it connects, you know, this side of the city to that side of the city through walkways. And so when I said it's for a park, specifically recreation, they're like, that's not for TxDOT. So there's stuff out there, we just gotta find where to get it. So I have my eyes on it. But Bear County does have their grant program coming up in the next few months. So we talked about that previously. I still have the quotes. probably went up since then, but at least we have an idea of what to try to shoot for. So we'll spend less time
We're looking.
talking about it and more time trying to get it accomplished. Anything else for the parks, Tom?
No, that's about it.
Okay, any other questions for? All right, let's move right along. All right, are we discussing our possible action on amending the personnel policy? We're still working on it?
No, I've given up.
Okay,
If we want, and I think we need a professional grade personnel policy.
okay.
And if we have to sub that out to a professional to get it done, then let's look at doing that.
I think that's a good idea.
So ADP always reaches out and says, you know, is your personnel policy up to date? We can help you write it. That would not necessarily be a bad thing because they're more up to date with state laws and when
Well,
it comes to human resources and things like that. I don't mind looking into it.
Yeah, we can look at that. If we just had a professional transcriptionist that would transcribe the whole thing, and, because I'm still having issues with,
The format.
it's just a formatting nightmare,
Yeah.
because
We've gotten pieces from. here and there.
everybody has formatted their little part
patchwork.
differently, so it's
It's
all a
patchwork.
patchwork quilt. I'm not a transcriptionist, I'm a cut and paste guy, and that's, it's just not working.
Okay, all right, well then let's, we'll postpone this one for now and then we'll start talking. I'll figure out where we can go to get it resolved. All right, discuss and or possible, actually, let's actually jump to 13B, discuss and or possible action on ordinance 2019-149, providing procedures for the adoption of city ordinances. The reason why I want to jump to that is because our newest alderwoman, Madero, asked that we talk through it and just kind of understand the process when adopting ordinances. Mel, I don't know if you've had a chance to kind of dive into it, but if you want to kind of talk through it, maybe?
Oh, I've read it, it's pretty simple. Basically, it just says that, in order to allow the citizens, and the council to discuss this, we need to have 2 readings. There's some few exceptions where you don't need the 2 readings, and there's the option to waive it, for the council members to do to waive that. But, I mean, I think you're following it by doing the second readings on some of these.
Okay.
One of my areas of concern wasn't in this, it's, Texas Code 52
Okay.
that we're violating. That's more of a concern of mine than following this ordinance, because you're doing that. We've been able to implement that in the past meetings.
Okay, so Texas Code 52.
Yes, 52.011 is actually referenced in multiple ordinances, and we don't do it. At least I don't think we do it.
If you would,
Yeah, local government code 52 is actually cited at the end of multiple ordinance. I have more concern with that than I do with this, because I mentioned it at the last meeting, and the council seems to understand the requirement. Just, it's primarily to give citizens an opportunity to speak about it, because it's not like, we don't publish everything in advance like San Antonio does. I've gone out and I've looked at multiple different cities, including San Antonio, and how they do their city council meetings and how they publish stuff. We get ours out usually right at 6:30 on Monday. We don't always have all the attachments even sent to us in time to get a good reading of them. Whereas some of the other places are posting it out, so citizens are showing up in the meeting, having read the documents and knowing what they want to talk about. This is a small town, we don't have the ability to do that. So I think it's important that we follow this ordinance, we talk about it, we present it, we make whatever problems, comments and concerns we have with it, and then we post it. We put it out there on the website, not signed, as completed, marked as draft, under that second reading section that's created, and just give the citizens an opportunity. Whether they take advantage of that opportunity or not is on them, but we're giving them a chance to look at what laws we're passing that will affect them. And I think it's important we do that whenever we can.
So you basically just want us to continue following the second reading rule. That's what you're saying?
Correct, yeah, and
Uh,
that, I
Other
think we're doing
than
it.
an emergency or, safety and health issue, I don't see why we would waive a potential ordinance.
A second reading.
Absolutely, I agree with that, but during my time as a citizen coming and watching this, I saw multiple times where this council voted and waived the second reading.
Well,
And I
we have that
haven't
option.
seen that happen
But
lately.
we have that option.
Correct, I haven't seen it lately, and I don't think the
Well-
council has an issue with following this ordinance.
some of those ordinances, we don't have a choice. We have to.
And that's
we-
clearly
we have
defined.
to do things.
Absolutely.
So things that we have to do,
Budgets don't even need a second
we,
reading.
we,
Yeah.
we don't need a, we don't
Absolutely.
need a second reading. But things that impact the citizens, changes in an animal control ordinance, that should be posted so people have an opportunity to input, not just, here it is. And that's been kind of touch and go all through the years because, as you say, we tend to just bulldoze right through things. And thank you for calling that to our attention.
So then what we can do for now, the action that I think what we can take is to take this ordinance 2019-149 presented for amendment to now include the Texas Government Code 52.00.
We've already included, so,
It's just not written in
no,
here.
no, the Texas 52.011 has nothing to do with the second reading and the passing of the ordinance.
Mhm.
So, and it's not on the agenda, so I don't know that we should really talk about it. However, it is
Well, we're discussing.
cited in our ordinance. If you look at the other ordinance that we're about to discuss, both the fence ordinance and the culvert ordinance, the next to last paragraph references that. 52.011. So local government code 52 requires that any ordinance that imposes a fees or a fine on the citizens of the town must be published in the city newspaper to include a description of what that ordinance is and to include what the fees and fines are. And then publish it 2 days if it's a daily newspaper, which I believe the Wilson County News is, and then get an affidavit from the newspaper validating that we published it, and then keep that on record. And it can't be enforced until we do that. Now, the code does allow for us to waive that requirement within our ordinance, but our ordinances aren't doing that. Our ordinance are saying, the city secretary is gonna publish it according to local government code, and then the next paragraph, we got one paragraph on every one of our ordinances that says we're gonna comply, it'll be effective once we comply with that.
Yep.
The ordinance shall take effect immediately upon its publication as required, and the city clerk is hereby authorized to go do that. But are we doing it? That's what I'm more concerned about than this ordinance.
But it still needs to be added in here.
No, every ordinance has that
Has
in
it.
it. We don't, it's not
It doesn't need to be in
part,
this
no,
ordinance.
it does
It doesn't
not,
need to be
no.
in this ordinance, no sir, because
No.
it's in every ordinance.
Gotcha.
Our
Gotcha,
city
gotcha.
attorney puts that in an ordinance that has the
Cassandra,
fees or
Cassandra
fines.
has us covered.
We just
right
have
there.
to follow up and do what the other ordinances say.
Okay.
When she puts it in there and says, we're gonna do this, and it doesn't become effective until we do this, and the city secretary or city clerk is supposed to go do this, then let's do it.
Okay.
And so if we're not doing it, anybody that is
In violation.
punished under that ordinance can,
Has a grade.
No,
As
back.
a,
no, there
as
you
a
go, right,
legitimate
but it doesn't
complaint,
invalidate,
absolutely,
doesn't
sir.
invalidate
Right.
the ordinance if we don't publish, it just still doesn't
It
invalidate the
doesn't
ordinance.
invalidate the ordinance, but
Right.
if the ordinance states it becomes effective once published, it's not effective
Until we publish it.
until we publish
Right,
it. So
right.
what's our record? Do we have these affidavits validating that we've published every ordinance for the past 10 years that has a fee or fine?
We'll have to research.
That's a good question.
That's-
Past 10 years.
Yeah.
So
It's a lot
that
of
that would
digging.
be my question. Are we complying with this? It doesn't invalidate the ordinance, you're correct, but the ordinance technically is not in effect until such time as its publication, according to the sentence in the ordinance itself.
Okay. All right, understood. We will try to be in compliance as best as we can.
So what are we gonna do about this one?
There's no action to take
Okay.
for 13B. All right. Moving right along to 12B, discuss and or possible action on ordinance 2024-245 regulating fences. Alderman Fillinger, Alderman Tremblay, do y'all want to go ahead and take the floor on this one?
Well, I think this is actually
The second reading.
the second reading
It
of
is,
this
Mhm.
ordinance. And
So this,
I am praying at this time that it has been published,
oh yeah,
because it was directed to be published. Pretty simple, we've gone through it, you know,
several times.
gone through it once or twice already.
Somebody
and,
needs to make a motion.
I think we just need a motion.
I will move that ordinance number 2024-245, an ordinance of the city of Sandy Oaks, Texas, providing for regulation of fences within its city, and providing for permitting, providing for enforcement and a penalty, providing for severability, and providing for publication and an effective date.
I'll second.
Motion that we approve this ordinance.
I'll second.
Or adopt.
It's not open for discussion until he turns it over to us. That's why I'm waiting.
All right, we have a motion from Alderman Tremblay and a second from Alderman Rupino to adopt ordinance number 2024-245, an ordinance of the city of Sandy Oaks, Texas, providing for the regulation of fences within the city and providing for permitting, providing for enforcement and a penalty, providing for severability, and providing for publication and effective date. This is now up for discussion. Ma'am?
So first, make it clear, our ordinance does state that if we do make changes after the first or second reading, it in no way changes anything, and we can still approve it and it can move forward. But I do have several comments, questions, and concerns related to this ordinance. So, first, the definition of fence. As I read this, this means if someone wants to install a dog pen, a chicken coop, something in their backyard to contain their pets, they need to get a permit to do that. I don't think we want to do that if they're just building a dog pen inside their backyard. So that's a concern with that, the way that definition is written, because there's no exclusion anywhere throughout this document.
On page 2?
The definition of fence.
Right.
Let's break it down. Fence means any man-made barrier, and that should actually be stricken, and the word "or" should be inserted. Barrier or structure of any material, the purpose of which is to provide protection from intrusion, both physical and visual, to mark a boundary, enclose, screen, restrict access, decorate, or provide right-of-way edge treatment for any lot, building, structure, swimming pool, spa, or development. Okay? Here we go. This fence is only applied to a lot, a building, a structure, a swimming pool, a spa, or a development. A gate is considered part of the fence. It's not, it doesn't specify chicken coops, dog runs,
The
or
purpose of
kennels.
which is to provide protection from intrusion, comma, to mark a boundary,
Okay.
comma, enclose. That means you have a list item, a fence is a man-made structure, does any of these things. And because it says enclose, that means a man-made structure that is designed to enclose. Period. I mean, it's a list. Because of the way this is written, that's what it means. A fence is designed to do all of these things. Or any of these things. A man-made structure that does any one of these things.
There's not a period there, ma'am. It may be a run-on sentence.
So,
But
I'm
there's
not,
not a
I didn't mean
period.
that there's a period there, but it's a list. A fence is any barrier that does A, B, or C.
Yeah, but then,
So it doesn't enclose, it encloses,
then we have a second clause to do this, and we have a third clause for. But
for any lot, building, or
but
structure. So if
if
you
you-
put a dog house in the kennels, it's
If-
now
if-
doing it for a structure. If you put a chicken coop in the fenced area,
If-
you're doing it for,
if
it's
you
now
would
enclosing
care-
a structure.
If you would care to provide an alternate definition,
I just think we need to
Arguing
say that there's an
semantics.
exception for an enclosure within the property designed to contain the owner's
Animals.
pets.
Pets, animals. If that's what you want to put in there, I mean, we can amend, we can put it in there,
Because-
but I don't see where it's, I say, it's to, protect from intrusion. I don't think I'm worried about
Comma, but
intrusion
it's
from
got the comma.
ant dogs, my dogs, especially my dogs. If it's in my yard, I'm enclosing, I'm putting a fence in my yard. Now if I put a fence in my yard, an enclosure for my
A
dogs, my
fence
pets,
within my fence.
it's,
So
So are you
And-
saying that the citizens will interpret it as such?
I'm saying a legal interpretation of this might be necessary to verify because of the way I read it, not that I'm a lawyer, but we do have one, implies that it is, and it could potentially include an enclosure built within
So
the
if they
property.
come in here with the intention of getting a permit for an enclosure for a doghouse, shouldn't we say, no, it's not for that?
If that's what we're
You don't
making the
need-
decision, it doesn't, but as this definition reads.
I don't think they're gonna interpret it like that, and I believe the attorney saw this.
So as long as our attorney doesn't interpret that way, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
That's my concern, that it could potentially be interpreted that way. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, I mean, and
Yeah,
it
I don't
says the
think so.
purpose of which is to provide protection
doubt
from
anybody's
intrusion.
gonna show up
Doesn't,
to-
we're not
But
talking
then
about,
Get
it
a
says
permit for
comma,
their
so it's a
doghouse.
list.
Well,
Again.
we understand the punctuation and we understand your concern, but I don't believe that the citizens will interpret it that way.
Can we
And if
just
they
get
do,
a ruling from the lawyer
give 'em
is
a
whether
permit.
it
Well,
is
he
possible
already-
to be interpreted
she
that way?
already,
she
she already proved it.
Just typing a response to Dilma, I wouldn't interpret it that way, and if that is a way, and the city would be responsible for interpreting its, ordinances the way it would like to interpret that fence, I would not enforce, it against the dog kennel.
Okay, that's all I needed to know, is that legally it's not going to be interpreted that way, so I'm good with that.
Can we
So-
start with the question first on the next one? So what's the question to the attorney?
So, well, my concern was that it could be interpreted to include dog kennels. That's how I started it.
So then start it with that and then end it with, Cassandra, what is your
So,
opinion?
the next item is that only residential properties are allowed to have a fence within certain restrictions within the site triangle. Why are we limiting agricultural properties, residential properties, and the like from having a fence with those same restrictions within the site triangle?
do we have agricultural properties? I don't think we
Sorry,
do.
ma'am,
I don't know, you're putting
We
it in the
don't.
ordinance,
Yeah.
so.
you,
So-
you lost me somewhere.
Okay, so in section 4, paragraph B, it states, "No fence is permitted within the site triangle that will obstruct vision between a height of 3 feet and..."
Section 5.
Section 4, B.
No, I'm looking
Right,
at section
B,
4.
okay.
Fences in residential areas designated R1 and R2
Okay.
on the adopted master plan. Right? So this says that on R1 and R2, we can have a fence that meets these restrictions within the site triangle. But then if you look at section 6B, 7C, 5H, 8I, all the other sections talking about the other residential type areas, other type of areas, whether or not they're designated currently or not, they're not allowed to have a fence in the site triangle. Why can't they have a fence in the site triangle with the same restrictions?
Well, actually, in section 13, it addresses street and driveway intersections, site triangle. And I don't think there's any, okay, there's no exceptions there. But if you feel strongly about it,
I'm just asking how come only residential? Because even like a subdivision can't have a fence in the site triangle.
Then you would wish to amend it by adding,
No. I'm asking if there's a reason why only residential folks can have a
There-
fence
there-
within the site triangle.
okay,
I don't think we have the answer to that question.
I'm still,
I'm confused. Say it real slow, man, I'm old.
It says it right here, right? So it says fences for non-residential, right, so I'm looking at section 6, reading the title. Fences for non-residential areas designated C1, C2, or D on adopted master plan. And it says, for those people, for designated C1, C2, or D, no fence shall be permitted within the site triangle.
It also says the same thing as
Right,
5H.
Right, but again, let's
Yeah.
just talk about it specifically for this one for now. That's not so much the gripe, but that's the concern. Why do non-residential areas designated C1, C2, or D are not able to have a fence within the site triangle? And I don't think we have the answer to
Sure we do.
that. Sure, okay.
Fences in a site triangle are a hazard, sir,
Mhm.
okay? Blocking off the site triangle is a hazard. It's a hazard to people going by, it's a hazard to people coming out.
Understood, but
So
there's
then why do residential?
why do residential with
Get the
certain
privilege.
restrictions? There's specific rules associated for what a fence in a site triangle on a residential property can have. Why can't a subdevelopment? Why can't agricultural land? Why can't anyone else have that? Why, what's so special about residential property that they're allowed to build in the site triangle but nobody else can?
Okay.
And that's the question that I think we don't have.
Okay,
an answer
so
to. Right.
section 4, you're saying that the residential can have them? Because I see where it says no fence is permitted in the site triangle, in the
That will
residential.
obstruct vision between a height of 3 feet and 10 feet. So you can have a fence that's under 3 feet, or you can even have a 6 feet one that doesn't obstruct vision. So, and that's why we have the whole section in the addendum that talks about what the site triangle is and why it's important not to distribute, to put anything in that
obstruct,
area. Obstruct it, yeah,
it's
that's
there
the
for
word.
obstruction.
So,
Sandra.
So I guess you have to ask
She said about the
ACE2, or
site
whatever
triangle, I
it is.
think that is a
American
safety issue
Association
with
of
the
State
traffic,
Highway and
but that is more
Transportation
an
Officials.
engineering admin question.
Huh.
more of an
Instead of
engineering.
keep guessing at it, let's,
So-
She's saying it.
Right, so it's more of an engineering question. So again, if residential folks can do it, why can't anyone else that can follow these rules have it?
well, we need to go to the engineers
Yep.
to find out why, rather than arguing about it.
Right,
We're just wasting time
Well, actually,
if nobody has an answer.
yeah, actually, if you look at the site triangle in the addendum, there we go.
yeah, why is the addendum in the middle instead of at the end?
No, right. It was,
Not now.
okay.
Is it assuming that agricultural areas don't have the traffic that the residential areas do?
I think the assumption would be that they have more traffic, because that's why they're not allowed
Right,
to have
right.
it within the. within
Right, the residential.
Right.
Correct,
Well,
that's what
I
I'm saying.
think if Going into the section 13.
We're guessing, let's
Street
get
and driveway intersection site triangle.
authority answer for this.
There would not be an engineering reason why those same standards could not be applied to commercial and agricultural areas. Because the American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials and the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices, they don't specify residential or,
Agriculture.
yeah, they don't specify residential, commercial, agriculture. They specify it for all egress and access routes. So, you know, the 3 to 10 foot clearance and not more than 25% of the site triangle being blocked would be applicable to
All
every driveway.
So why don't we table it to get to a professional opinion?
Yeah, that's a smart thing to do.
All right, if nobody objects, sorry.
So we're looking for the engineer to approve this ordinance?
Not to approve, but to provide an explanation as to why commercial areas are
Well,
not
he
able
already
to.
explained it, but we need
Can
to.
I explain it to you?
Sure.
Because I didn't write it into it. I took the shortcut and just
We
said
just
no
need to
fence,
write it.
thinking that, well, not thinking. Okay, we should add the clause,
So where it says no fence shall be permitted within the site triangle, and all those sections, we can just replace it with what's written in
In the
section
residential.
4B. And then, because there's no reason not to allow them that
there
option.
is no reason not to allow them that option.
So that would be
So we'd
Five-
amend the ordinance,
5H,
Amend it. Amend it.
6B,
reapprove it.
7C, and 8I, all state no site triangle.
Okay. Can we do all those as one motion?
So I make a motion to
Amend.
strike out, no fence shall be permitted within the site triangle of paragraph 5H, 6B, 7C, and 8I, and replace it with the verbiage that is presented in paragraph, on section 4 Bravo, that states no fence is permitted within the site triangle that will obstruct vision, et cetera, et cetera.
I'll second.
Okay, so the motion is to, let's see, by
Strike out.
Alderwoman Madero and a second by Alderman Rapino to strike out 5H, 6B, 7C, and 8I, and to add in to each section listed previously, no fence is permitted within the site triangle that will obstruct vision between a height of 3 feet and 10 feet, nor shall any fence obstruct or cause site restrictions at or near any street, roadway, driveway, or alley in the city to promote safety for vehicles and pedestrians. Does that sound about right?
That sounds exactly right.
All right. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
All right. All those opposed? All right. So can we approve this?
No, you have.
Oh, do you have more?
Let's go.
All right, so I am concerned that in section 8, in paragraph D, as in Delta, in K, as in Kilo, they mention building inspector. The city's building inspector. This person does not exist.
Fair.
Who's gonna do that role? I don't wanna pass an ordinance that has a role that doesn't exist.
So what we have, or what actually it's gonna come up later on, is what we can do is
Actually,
building inspector, administrator, and or their delegate.
And that's fine if we specify building inspector or delegate, but just saying building inspector. Or someone appointed by the city, I'm not sure what the proper verbiage should be.
Or city's
City
designee?
designate.
City designee, yes.
Is that the
We,
same
we,
ordinance?
we do in fact have a building
The one we
inspector,
just-
we just have not
Yes.
called on him for years.
Yeah.
Well, that section.
But we have never,
Have one.
removed him from being the building inspector. He's a part-time contract guy.
Let's just add, or
Designate.
city designate.
We've only had him out here twice in 10 years.
So then I would make a motion to add to section 8.
Strike
paragraph
out.
D and paragraph K at the very end, after the word inspector, or city designee.
Or, okay.
I'll second.
All right, I got a motion from Alderwoman Madero and a second from Alderman Rapino to add after building inspector and/or city designee into section D and K. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, all right.
Okay. Another one's just a question of curiosity. How come only residential properties can have chain link fence? Is there something about a chain link fence that prevents them from being elsewhere?
And you're reading that where?
Section 8, paragraph B is in Bravo, says unless otherwise allowed within this ordinance, fences constructed of chain link wire fencing, including chicken wire, barbed wire, or razor wire should not be permitted. And so the only place within the ordinance
Give
that
me the paragraph again.
8,
I told you
B.
I'm slow.
8B, yes, sir. But if you look under the section 4 where the residential property is listed, they have the option to add a chain link fence.
I don't think it should say
I
chain
think
link.
we should
I
strike
think it should
chain
just
link.
be barbed wire or razor wire shall not be permitted.
That's,
Uh,
I just didn't know if there's something about chain link
No,
fences.
I don't think there's anything wrong with chain link fence
No.
or
I've got
chicken
chain
wire.
link fence.
Well, I do, sir.
Okay,
Chicken wire is a perimeter fence,
it's not strong.
that it does nothing.
Right,
I mean, literally, it does nothing.
yeah,
Except become an eyesore in about 6 months.
yeah.
So-
So can we just
So we're
Strike.
striking
I would
chain
strike.
make a
link?
motion to strike in paragraph, of section
Mm-hmm.
8, paragraph B, the word chained link, comma.
So it'd read unless otherwise allowed within this ordinance, fences constructed of wire fencing, including chicken wire, barbed wire, razor wire, shall not be permitted. Trying to think of all our residents, right? Like we have, well, there's. Okay,
There is allowance for barbed wire on agricultural within this
right,
ordinance.
okay,
I just,
okay,
just the razor wire, those kind of things.
okay. So I got a,
And I'm not aware of anybody doing perimeter fencing with chicken wire.
yeah.
Yeah, but we,
If they are, they're grandfathered in.
yes, sir.
All right, I got a motion from Alderwoman Madero. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
From Alderman Rapino to strike chain linked, comma, from section 8B. All of those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed. All right.
I also make a motion that addendum A and addendum B be actually moved to the end. Addendums are added on, not inserted in the middle of documents unless there's some legal requirement for it to be in the middle of the ordinance.
That's
There's
what
no-
addendum means,
there's
to add
no-
on.
It is not, in fact.
There's no requirement for it to be anywhere, so in a sense of
Okay,
placating
so,
it.
so I make a motion that they be moved to the end
Okay,
as an actual add-on.
all right.
Oh, because
Minor at the end.
Second.
All right, I got a motion from Alderwoman Madero and a second from Alderman Rapino to move addendum A and addendum B to the end of the document. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed. All
Okay,
right.
now I have a question. Now, at the very first where it says, providing permitting. If we're gonna issue a permit, then are we gonna collect a permit fee?
Oh, that's on my list of things to talk about, sir.
Okay.
I do have questions about that. But I want to get some simple ones out of the way.
Oh, okay.
So another one is I would move that in section 19 publications, that we add the word in between the word therein and the, so that it reads, "The city clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish the caption of this ordinance together with the penalty provision contained therein in the manner and for the length of time prescribed by law." I know it sounds weird to have therein and then immediately followed by in, but that conjunction needs to be in there.
Are you sure? They're in the manner.
No, contained therein,
In,
published in the manner, so it's contained therein.
Comma.
No.
I would say so.
No, you don't need the comma, but it just means it's two separate, so, because if you were to take Directed to be
It needs
published,
to be two
the
phrases.
caption in the manner for, and then the other stuff is just, it's just missing the word in.
just add in.
All right. Well, I got a motion from Alderwoman Madero. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
From Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado
Losing my voice.
to add the word therein after therein. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Right.
All those opposed? All right.
All right, and then my final
Thank you.
is section 9. There's multiple things within section 9.
Section 9.
That I think need to be addressed, because we can't publish this until we address the permit fee, which is the very last sentence of section 9. But in the middle of the section, I think we're assigning responsibilities to the city secretary's office that we should be doing as a city council. It says, "The city secretary office shall establish procedures, forms, and standards with regard to the content, format, and information required for the permit application." Why are we putting that on the city secretary to do?
Shall it read Alderwoman, please 5 instead?
I think it should be included in the ordinance. What are the procedures and the forms? If we're passing an ordinance and we don't have the forms, we can make it effective as soon as it's published, but then someone's gonna show up and say, "Where's my form so I can get my permit?" And we're gonna have to turn them away. And we don't have the procedures. In here it mentions a site plan for one of the categories. I
Is
mean,
a-
does the permit require a site plan?
So then, I mean, in reality, right, is a permit even required, right? We want to regulate what they're doing. I don't think we need to collect a fee. I don't think we need to be going and managing their project. But if they put something up that's not within the ordinance, then we should be able to go and act on it. I don't know. I'm just saying, how do we?
I would agree with that. We don't need to collect a permit to put up a fence. I think we just need to
Be able to regulate what they're
be able
doing.
to regulate.
And make sure they're aware they're gonna get fined if they don't follow it.
Right.
You may say, no, it's,
I think if a permit's not required, okay,
They're gonna do what they want.
we're gonna find out they built a used pallet fence
Sure.
a month later.
seen a few of those.
Used equipment is not authorized.
I understand that, ma'am, but if they come and get a permit, they get a copy of the ordinance, here's what you can do and what you can't
We'll
do.
be here at midnight.
So, we may
Yeah.
And a
require,
site plan doesn't need to be draftsman quality, it needs to be, here's my lot, here's my fence. But, you know,
I'm good either way. I just don't think that we need to impose this on our city
not a
secretary
fee.
to do it.
I'd say we could require a permit, but not a fee. If they come in and get a permit,
yeah, I'm good with
at
that.
least that way we know somebody's putting up a fence.
Yeah.
Much like they come in and get a garage sale
and
And
permit.
what you
Right.
can and can't do.
So not even really, well, I guess we do
Yeah.
have some sort of application, just says, here's my name, here's my address, and
This is
I
what
would be
wanna
more than
do.
happy to take up the responsibility so that our city secretary is not doing that, to bring, to you, Mayor, what a form should look like to
Permit should
request
be with,
a fence permit.
Right.
So that, because we needed to take that out. Making the city secretary do that.
Okay, then,
So then who should?
Who should do what?
establish procedures, forms, and standards with regard to the content, format, information required for the permit application.
That's what I'm telling you, sir.
Good.
I
Just
will
volunteer.
create a permit
Okay.
application, similar to the way we have a garage sale application that just says, this is who I am, this is what I wanna do. And then, the city secretary can issue a permit, much like she does for the garage sale.
If I may, ma'am.
Go right ahead, sir.
I have received and understand city ordinance number 2024-245.
Yeah, oh yeah, that'll definitely be on there, sir.
Okay.
Absolutely. Definitely, any other comments you wanna provide, I have an email, city email. So, sir, I would recommend that,
You would make a motion.
that you allow me to do this.
Well, let's put it as city council, it's not just you.
Okay, yes, sir, yes, sir. Okay, so, sir, I recommend, I move to replace in the middle of section 5, the
Nine.
statement, section 9, excuse me, the statement, the city secretary's office should be replaced with the city council.
Okay,
And then the last sentence of section 9 to be deleted. Strike out. A fence permit fee shall be established by the city council and designated on the city fee schedule.
Okay, so you're striking city secretary
Yep.
office
And
and
inserting,
inserting
City council.
city council.
Yep.
yes, sir,
Striking the
last sentence.
entire last sentence.
Yep.
yes, sir.
If that's, was that one?
I move to do that, yes, sir.
I second.
Okay, so I have a motion by Alderwoman Madero and a second by Alderman Fillinger to strike out city secretary's office and insert city council, and strike out the entire last sentence of section 9. A fence permit shall be established by the city council and designated on the city's fee schedule. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. All right.
Anything else? No.
I also, the approved on the 10th of October
Mhm.
needs to be replaced by today,
Today.
assuming we approve it today, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
But that's not a move to, that's just proper formatting.
Now, before we vote on the amended ordinance, let's address city council established procedure forms and standards. I move that Alderwoman Madero be put in charge of that.
Charge of,
Creating the form.
oh, the form
Establishing procedures forms and such.
is outlined. in
Section 9.
Yeah.
I'll also include procedures for applying, for submitting for a variance as outlined in section 10. I'll take that responsibility as well.
Do we need a motion?
He said he just moved to do that.
Okay, so we have a motion from Alderman Fillinger and a second from
I'll second.
Alderwoman Madero to assign Alderwoman Madero to be responsible for section 9 and section 10, establishing procedures, the permit, the application, and so on and so forth. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Okay,
And then, do you need to make a motion on this, or we just?
No, I'm just pointing it out that that's not accurate.
we'll re-sign it.
All right, now you need a motion to approve the ordinance
Yes,
as
sir.
amended.
As amended.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah, we have the motion and second already, we just need to call a vote, sir.
Okay.
As amended? You
Yeah,
called,
Because all the amendments are approved, it automatically updates the initial
Okay.
motion to be as
Yeah,
approved.
Okay.
we have approved the
amended.
amendment, so we're now ready to vote on the entire thing.
Okay, so we had an original motion by Alderman Tremblay and a second by Alderman Rapino to adopt ordinance number 2024-245 as amended. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed. All right. Moving somewhat right along. All right. Discuss under possible action on 2024-246, providing for the regulation of driveways and culverts. I believe we had already discussed many of the amendments or added many of the amendments that
Yeah.
in the previous meeting.
So, it's not in the version here, but it was in the version emailed to us, but not all the changes were properly incorporated.
But it isn't here?
No, even the one we were emailed, at least one that was not properly implemented, one of the amendments was not properly.
What was the amendment?
So, we amended it to strike out, Public Works in section 12 and add in city engineer. It still says, and this version that we have in front of us is the original one. It doesn't say, the current version that was emailed to us says Public Works or city engineer has to give do the final inspection to approve the pouring of the concrete.
Section 12?
Yeah. So at the top,
So, if you go,
right here, Public
Oh,
Works.
Public Works.
yeah, so the version that was emailed to us states, in general, all forms shall be smooth, the work shall be done in workmanlike manner, giving straight lines where required, true planes, a smooth finish, properly brushed to remove marks, and shall be completely satisfactory to the Public Works Director or the city designee. That's one spot where they mention both, and then in section 12, it says, no concrete shall be poured until the work site for the driveway or culvert has been inspected and approved by Public Works and city engineer if required. We had discussed previously that we have not trained our Public Works Director on how to determine if a site is ready for concrete to be poured. We're expecting plenty of things of her in here that I don't think she's qualified or trained to do, nor are they in her job description, but we're still mandating them of her.
So we just insert city engineer.
Was it just that one section?
Well, that's the one that we voted on last time and approved, the section 12. I'm not sure about the section 13, I have to look back through my notes, but the section 12, we had definitely agreed to pull Public Works because she's not comfortable saying, yeah, that's good, you can pour your concrete. So,
you want to strike where Public Works?
no, I'm
is?
saying we already voted on
Yeah.
that,
It's just not updated.
and it
It's
was not
already, should
updated.
be in there,
So-
yeah.
So strike it from here if we're going to
So-
publish this.
I'll just update it because we already did it, right? So,
Yeah, we already voted to make that change.
so that one should have read, the one that you are looking at reads,
Based on
or,
my recollection of our meeting, and everybody was there, so they can specify if I'm wrong.
but it should read, or city engineer?
No, it should read
No, it
city
should-
engineer.
Or
just
So
city
when we
engineer, okay.
redid this, you went by what notes, Mayor?
Oh, I didn't do it. The attorney does it for us,
So she made her notes?
possibly, yeah.
I see.
Yep, she takes her notes when she's sitting here.
Completely satisfactory.
Yeah.
Yeah, the version that I have, section 12 says, as approved by Public Works and city engineer if required.
And
Right,
city.
but I thought last time we decided that it was not appropriate to have the Public Works inspecting the driveway to ensure that it's ready for concrete pour.
Either way, city engineer's not in here.
Yes.
Right, but it is in the version that we were emailed, ma'am.
I understand, but I was asking, does she have her notes that this was printed and it wasn't in there?
Right, because this is the version we looked at last time.
I thought we were getting the attorney's final.
That was emailed to us, but not
Oh,
printed.
I see.
This is
The
the
version
wrong
that's sitting in
thing.
front
So
of
we
us on
didn't
the
print the emailed one.
Correct, the version that was emailed to us is not what was printed,
I
so.
see, okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at my notes, Public Works should have been struck, and it should have just been, it should have been inspected and approved by the city engineer. So, yes,
So-
Public Works should have been struck.
Okay.
Okay. But again, that's already,
That's been already
it's already
voted
been
and
voted
approved,
on,
correct.
so.
So this is the wrong one. So
The one in front of you is the wrong one.
Okay.
no sense even looking at it.
Yep.
Right,
Okay,
but,
go ahead, man.
I mean, we don't really have a motion to discuss this yet. I just wanted to point that out because that's a typo that we already approved last time.
That's not a typo, we just didn't get the emailed one.
Right. It's,
So, no, because even the email one had Public Works Director still in it. And that's what the city attorney just said.
Okay.
So, but just to say also, my other concern that is in section 3, paragraph B, 2 says that upon receipt of an application for a driveway permit, the Public Works Director shall make a determination as to whether the driveway applied for is necessary to provide reasonable access to the private property consistent with the safety and convenience of the public, taking into account the following manners. And then it lists, or matters, and then it lists items A through H. What kind of training are we providing our Public Works Director to be able to make this determination? I mean, the nature and volume of traffic on the street, the dimension and type of construction of the street, the effects of the passage of vehicles. What, I mean, what in her job description as Public Works Director says that she needs to be able to do this stuff?
So, and then obviously the ordinance is not proper, so we need to pull it.
Well,
Unless
apparently,
we're gonna give her some training.
we got all this information from somewhere and we inserted Public Works.
When Public Works was here,
What I'm saying is, where did we get these ideas?
I think
And
it's
then we
pulled from
decided
Bear County.
public-
Yeah, it was
Yeah, we
from the
got
Bear
it from-
County ordinance.
A different public
So
works.
if you
Yeah.
They
apply
have
for
that
Bear
training.
County
Yeah.
Public Works, they don't
And we
send
took
the-
it
they
upon
don't send
ourselves
the
to use
engineer out.
Public Works,
And
even though
if we
they're
wanna
not
give
trained.
our Public Works Director that training and
Yeah,
add it to
it's
the
no
ordinance
slur on
for her
her.
job, then that's
No.
fine.
She just doesn't have
But I don't
that
think there's a
training.
specific class for
They
that.
need
I
to
think it's
redo
within
If
his-
I can,
Yes, sir.
if I can address this,
I'm sure she could do it, but
when something's addressed to the Public Works Director, without inserting it where you can assume or her designate. So if she needs to make this determination, she doesn't have a designate, then she needs to talk to the city engineer. Nobody in any city or county has final and total authority over anything.
So you mean she can delegate?
well, it needs to be in here
Of course
then.
you can.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If
That's the
word-
only reason you
in-
put
in
Public
the
Works,
word
because she has the
director,
ability to
In
delegate.
the word director, that means she directs,
Okay,
not performs.
just for clarification, that's what it
Yeah,
is.
but, you know, I'm open, I'm just,
The ordinance establishing the position has her doing, taking care of the city streets, buildings, parks.
She is
facilities.
responsible for right-of-ways, so these approaches are in the right-of-ways.
these-
So it
these
does
are
fall in her
These are in
purview.
the right of way, and, okay, I don't
So
expect,
that's
I
fine, if you think
don't,
it falls within her ordinance, that was my question. within the
I don't
ordinance
expect Ms.
establishment.
Smith to go out and look at a 6-foot deep, 8 feet wide ditch and engineer an answer. But if she drives by many places in town, there is no ditch. We don't need an engineer.
So I have this has come up because there are people in our community that there are no rules to these residents, to a lot of them.
Well, and that's why
So
we're,
perfect example is right here on New Mathis, just as you come into the community, the very first, not first driveway, but he just built a house and put a wrought iron fence up. There is not one culvert under that concrete slab he poured.
Oh, I'm not saying we don't need this.
And that's, I think, where it's come at, is that they wanted to stop, and that's where they said, well, with me going out there in the field already, me eyeballing it, not necessarily the training, but me eyeballing it, but also with the support of the council, is to say, hey, there is something wrong with this driveway, it needs to stop. They can't continue to keep pouring that slab.
Yeah, but what we're gonna run into is they're gonna say, well, who are you? Besides the Public Works
Right,
Director.
I
but-
get that, but what was supposed to have happened is that if I spotted it, my crew was to spot a driveway being placed in there, or they're filling in a large ditch, which that's happening currently now too. People are just filling in the right of way because they think that's their property. And that's the only thing we were trying to do, is take the rules and the regs from Barrett County and bring it into Sandy Oak, so we have something to compare it to, say, hey, well, you can't, you have to go based off of what Barrett County is. And I think that's where all that came from, is that big list from A to H,
Yeah.
or whatever the numbers, the letters are.
And,
And I think that's
yeah.
what kind of happened, but I think it's gotten a little,
Well, and again, we lean on our public works people to do a lot of things. But the one thing you know is that they are out on our streets every day. Okay? And if they see a driveway going in, because this involves them in the permitting process, Michael sees a new driveway going in, all he has to do is call Priscilla, hey, does this address have a driveway permit? No. Well, then, they stop by and they say, you're gonna have to stop. And if the guy says, I ain't stopping for nothing, then we call the chief of police and say, would you go down there and tell that man he can't do it? Because they're way more or less,
so what's happened, Ms. Madero, is that they went from not having any ordinance in place for a driveway, that's a free-for-all, do whatever you want, to let's put something in place.
But that's not the argument, right?
Yeah.
The argument is that is the public works director, whether it's you or somebody else, able to basically make this determination, right? That's the question. There's no disregarding the fact that this is necessary, right?
Right.
Just want to make sure that that's clear.
Correct. I understand why we need this, we
So-
need to do all these things, but
But if the council feels confident that you could do it, then
Well, it's not-
that should address your question.
I think anybody that we hire as a director that cannot make a determination of whether a culvert is needed or not, then we need to reconsider.
well, she can definitely make that determination. But she's
But-
supposed to
So then-
consider the
so then
nature and
there's no-
volume of traffic.
She can delegate
Yeah.
every other.
That's true. There is
Every other
If I may.
thing in there,
One
because
second.
that's what directors do.
And she's not determining whether a culvert's necessary, because this ordinance states that any driveway you put in will have a culvert,
No,
period.
it doesn't.
It
No.
does.
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado, you had a question?
Yeah, I'm with Fillinger and Madera, both make points. The whole point is, we want them to come under the Public Works because we want someone to say, hey, there's somebody doing this, okay? It's like the construction, building people, constructions. They don't know how to do everything. They subcontract to the people that do. That's all she's gonna have to do. If she has a question, if there's something that she is not knowledgeable or trained in, we will get it.
Right, but why does she have to take all these things into consideration? It's saying she's going to look at. the
She's
traffic.
not.
But it says she's going to.
She's going to, the Public Works Department, not just herself.
It is her, it's the Public Works Director, she's the one responsible for it, whether she delegates it down to her people or not. But she's supposed to take into consideration, she's supposed to consider the following matter.
Yeah.
Is she going to consider all these things, or is she just going to use common sense? I mean,
That's what it should read.
So,
why are we gonna list
Yeah.
items A
Right,
through G if
because,
she's going to
right,
consider
because
all
the
these
point
things?
is that when we go ask Priscilla, did you do a nature of volume of traffic on the street which the property abuts to? No, you
Then
did not.
she's gonna say, I delegated that to the city engineer.
Okay, so then all we have to do is
Change
put
that
that.
wording, yeah.
We've had 10 minutes of
Do
conversation.
what makes you happy. I mean,
If there's also one more statement, if you look under section 4F, positive drainage away from the area must be paid, provided whatever. Survey must be provided and approved by the city engineer before private paving begins. So she's only looking to see that these are gonna be met. And the engineer is involved in the actual permit application or when they issue the permit, the engineer is involved at that point. So I don't think it's an issue.
And I would point out section 10, paragraph B, in regards to my previous statement that every driveway will have a culvert. No driveway may be constructed without use of an approved culvert of at least a minimum diameter of 15 inches. So you are mandating that every driveway in this town will have a culvert, which, is that really necessary?
No,
I
you're
walked
not.
from my house to Wayne's garage today, and there were probably 24 driveways that didn't have a culvert. Some of them definitely
Need a
needed
culvert.
some, but to mandate that every driveway have a culvert, then why does she need to go look?
So where is it at?
Section 10,
10.
paragraph B.
It does say no driveway.
I don't need a driveway.
You get a culvert.
Where is section?
Section
Hey, it says
Right.
culverts are required.
And yours says draft and mine
Where
doesn't.
a slope exceeds
Really?
5%.
I don't know.
It says where the slope exceeds 5%.
But very next paragraph says no driveway will be
Says a
installed without
culvert
one.
Culverts are required to be installed
And
where
that
a
just-
slope exceeds 5%.
It not only says it there, there's another way, a culvert, when a slope of a driveway exceeds,
Exceeds
5%, or
yeah.
where the driveway without a culvert section cannot be met without raising the bottom of the bar, ditch, pipe, or box culvert will be required. So not every driveway needs a culvert. It's,
It says
Then
if
B
it
should say
exceeds
no
5%.
driveway where a slope exceeds 5%
well, no, it says it in another
may
section.
be constructed without the use of an approved culvert. I
Says it
mean,
in
A and B should be combined.
It says it in section 10, but it's mentioned in section 7B. So it's mentioned in several places where it defines what the requirement
It says the
is.
slope
Right, but that
exceeds
statement is a single
5%.
standalone statement that says no driveway may be constructed without the use of an approved culvert. It's not any kind of conditions on section 10B. I understand there's conditions placed elsewhere, but it's not placed on that sentence.
No, I think that
That
A
sentence is cut and
covers
dry.
everything below it.
Well, I think the simplest thing to do is just strike paragraph B, because all of those determinations were made by the city engineer.
And it's mentioned elsewhere, the requirements when a culvert is
Everything
required.
below A
So-
is,
Is there a reason to have that paragraph in there?
Didn't write it.
That's why you're questioning it, right? I didn't write it. So, for the sake of simplicity, would anybody object to striking paragraph B in section 10?
You want to strike B.
Why?
We'll make a motion.
I'm in discussion.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
Yep.
Because if you look at
there's no
the
point in
next one, if you
discussing
look
if they
at
don't
C,
pass a motion.
if you look at C, placement of a culvert shall in all cases maintain the line and grade of drainage ditch which driveways to cross. So
Okay,
that
then.
all you're talking about is a flow, right?
All right.
It made a
I
flow.
move to strike paragraph B of section 10.
I'll second.
All right, I got
Yeah,
a
but
motion
that-
from Alderman Fillinger and a second from Alderman Rapino to strike section B of item B of section 10. All those, is there any discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, section B is gone.
Yeah.
It's out the door.
I need 5 minutes, or you may continue in my absence.
Let's continue.
Yeah.
At this time,
Yeah, let's
Alderman
keep
Fillinger has stepped away. It is now 8:18.
9, oh, is that clock?
Yeah, that's wrong,
Oh,
8:18.
okay. Thank God.
What else? What else is here?
What else, Ms. Madero? Alderman Madero?
I
Alderman-
still don't like all the matters that we're asking our public works director to take into account, but I leave that to the council members who have been here longer to say if she can take all of those things into account that are listed. I think it's more simple than that.
Of her opinion, you can still make a motion to accept ordinance as amended, so
I move we
You
accept
choose
ordinance
to do so, you can.
2024-246, an ordinance City Sandy Oaks, Texas, providing city regulation of driveways, culverts within the city, providing for enforcement and a penalty, providing for severability, and providing for publication and effective date.
I'll second.
all right. So I have a motion by Alderman Tremblay and a second by Alderman Rapino to adopt ordinance number 2024-246, an ordinance of the city of San Diego, Texas, providing for the regulation of driveways and culverts within the city, providing for enforcement and penalty, providing for severability, and providing for a publication and an effective date. May I take a vote? All those in favor say aye.
All right?
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
That passes 3-1. We move along.
I had two.
Okay. Section, what is it, A, B, C, D? D, we will postpone because we are waiting for another quote. So we're moving along to section E. No, yeah, 12E. All right, let's see here. Discuss under possible action on the purchase of eForce, report management system. Chief, please explain what eForce is, please.
Please, 26,000.
Huh?
I said,
Oh,
please.
yeah.
Very expensive, I know. So, eForce is a report writing system. Currently, we are using a report writing system that is called CopSync. I don't know of anybody in the area that's using CopSync. I think the closest agency that's using CopSync around us is George West. But let me just give you a rundown on some of the problems we're having with CopSync and what the difference between CopSync and eForce is. So in our computer systems in the vehicle, we have what's called CAD. That's where all of our officers get dispatched to their calls coming from Bexar County. CopSync does not sync with CAD, and I'm going to tell you why that's important here in a minute. CopSync doesn't sync with CAD, and so when a call comes in, right, the officer's dispatch, disturbance in progress, comes out on the CAD, they go to do their report, they have to take all the information that's on here, open up CopSync, put it on here, because it doesn't automatically sync over. They'll do a report. I show up, say to it, for example, yesterday we had a death in town. 4 of us arrived. 4 of us have to do a report. Say report is SOPD 1, 2, 3, 4. The initial officer does that report. I have to do a report because I was there, so did the other 2. I have to go in and open up a report, SOPD 1, 2, 3, 4-1. The other officer -2 and -3, and nothing syncs from the first report to this one, so I've got to take all the information, input it back, just to go in and type a 2-line supplement that I arrived, observed, and left. So the eForce system, number 1, it's synced to CAD. So when the call comes in, it automatically syncs to the CAD system. Number 2, one report gets done. Officer A arrives on scene, puts all the information, suspect, victim, location, details, writes their supplement. I show up on scene, all I do is open up that officer's report, hit the supplement tab, and I type a supplement. I'm real familiar with this because Elmendorf uses the same system, eForce. Another big thing, we are not in compliance with what's called NIBRS. It's the National Reporting System. We have to report all crimes for the year to NIBRS. Apparently, it's never been done. It's totally different from when we are reporting from when we report racial profiling stuff that gets reported to the state. That's been being done every year. NIBRS has not. CopSync has the capability to do it, but whenever San Diego purchased CopSync, they did not purchase the NIBRS portion of it, which is an additional $2,500 to purchase that. So eForce already comes with the NIBRS system. The other thing is we are currently paying $4,000 a year to have eForce. If I want to add an additional officer every time we're hiring somebody, it's $750 to add an additional user. That's on CopSync, I'm sorry. eForce would be $3,000 a year, and it's only $150 to add a person on. So the report writing system is better. It syncs to CAD. It contains the NIBRS to report to the federal, national, and don't ask me to quote you what those letters stand for, but that's where we report our stats to. It comes with that package already. It's cheaper to add users, and it's cheaper per year once it's purchased. And it's very user-friendly, opposed to whoever came up with CopSync, that if 5 officers show up, 5 officers have to do an entire report, which doesn't make any sense to me. So that's the difference between eForce and CopSync.
Chief, this is also the system that Bexar County uses, so as we're,
No, it is not.
okay.
Bexar County's CAD system is compatible with eForce. Now, the system that Bexar County uses So I did some research, I spoke with some deputies, they highly recommended do not get our system. Number one, it's over $100,000. Number two, it only works half the time seeking the CAD. eForce, I spoke with their chief, I used to work there, we've never had a problem with eForce compatible with CAD. It's a system Elmendorf and some other surrounding agencies use. The county uses an entirely different system, it's a whole lot more expensive, and it works half the time.
But this is the system you told me you're able to make updates at the DA's office or something like that?
So, that's gonna come with the body cams. and stuff.
Oh, okay, okay. Sorry, I'm
So,
confused.
But
So-
eForce is, like I said, especially in the investigation side, Investigator Alvarez is having to follow up on a whole lot of cases that have already been halfway done, not done, or being done. The frustration that he's getting trying to work with eForce not being user-friendly, it's outrageous. The other thing that I didn't mention is eForce filed for, CopSync
CopSync.
filed for bankruptcy.
Yep.
So that's another issue. So, don't know what's gonna happen with it in the future, but
Yeah.
we need to update from the system that we have, or we need to still purchase more stuff with CopSync. Like I said, it's $2,500 to be able to get the NIBRS reporting system, and then we're still continuing to pay $4,000 a year and $750 every time I add a user.
They're going bankrupt.
And,
What about eForce?
but they may get bought with by somebody
That-
else,
this
I
is
don't
true.
know.
But
Oh.
eForce more reputable, they have a big.
They're not going
competitor.
bankrupt.
They're not going bankrupt.
So Chief, I know it's hard to do, but over 3 years, what do you think the ROI would be on?
So,
I know,
I was in Elmendorf 3 years ago. They're still using eForce. So, I was with the city of Alice for 13 years, and they're still using the same PTS system that works great. The systems update themselves. They come out with stuff, you get it updated, and so it's constantly updating. The problem with CopSync, it's just not user-friendly police-wise. I don't know who came up with it, but certainly wasn't police officers, right? Because there should be no reason. And the way the law has changed, and this is why there's what's called the Michael Morton law, right? So if an incident happens and I go to the scene, I don't even approach the house. If I just show up on location, I have to write a report. That's just the way it is now. It's Michael Morton law. So to open up 10 different reports on one incident, just so I can do a 2-line supplement, but have to input 5 pages of information that's already on the original officer's information, like suspect, victim, time, location, all, it makes no sense to me.
A lot of time saving then.
A lot of time saving, yeah.
So that'd be part of
what's it gonna impact the budget, that 26 grand?
Well, Tom, that's where you come in, Tom.
I knew you were gonna say that.
So the budget unfortunately doesn't have it built in, right? That's just the reality of it. We didn't expect that. We didn't factor that we were gonna need an entire new reporting management system. So we were hoping to tap into the investment fund to be able to purchase it. Now, going forward, right, it does say second year forward items. There is a $3,000 annual fee after year 2, and then year 3, it's the $3,000 plus a 3% increase.
And I forgot to mention one last main thing. To get our, I'm sorry, this is about dash cams, my bad.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
So the 26,000 is a one-time hit, and then we would do an annual fee of 3,000.
And we
going
put
forward.
that 3,000 within the police
Yes.
department budget in the future. And I'm
Correct.
assuming this annual license and support fee includes there's automatic updates that you mentioned. So
Correct,
that
and the
will-
NIBRS.
So we'll automatically get that
So-
included, okay.
You're gonna, when do you want this 26 grand?
After we approve it?
Okay, so I will, all I need to do is get a hold of my counterpart at Tex Pool, and once you approve it,
Okay.
we can have the money. I'll need a place where you wanna send it, and we should get it in a day or two.
No worries.
And you need to give me an amount,
Yes, sir. We will work on that.
okay?
Okay, so up for discussion. Well, let's get a motion.
I
on-
move to approve the expenditure of $26,650.69 from the investment fund in order to purchase the E-Force system for our police department.
I won't second that because it'll break my heart.
I'll second it, I have no heart.
Yeah, there you go. All right, I have a motion from Alderwoman Madero and a second from Alderman Fillinger to purchase the E-Force report management system for $26,650.69 from the investment fund. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Moving right along.
I do think we ought to put any extra change we have every month into the investment account.
I don't disagree. I don't
Yeah,
disagree.
so-
Let's spend some time and really dig in and see what we
Okay.
gotta account for.
I mean, because we can make a little bit of,
Some change. Yeah, that's true. Well, we'll talk more about that. All right, discuss enter possible action on the purchase of a body cam evidence management system. So just to give you a heads up, this is a $12,500 match, and I say that because we have applied, we have or we are?
It has been submitted this past December. It probably will not come into effect until like August, but we would not purchase this until the grant.
So we've applied for a grant, so the $12,500 that we would need for this particular item is the match for a grant. Make sense?
So why are we discussing it now?
So that way we can get it out of the way. So that way, when we do receive the approval for the grant, we just go forward.
Well,
Well,
and
this-
also, if I may, it ties into the dash cam because it's all through Axon and they all use the evidence.com. It's just, part of it would be grant and the other part would not. But if I could, I'd like to discuss both of them together.
But this quote expires January 12th, January 15th.
that's the time that if you purchase something and you get it, you can't
Yeah,
purchase
it's a
something and then
different
get a
quote.
grant for it.
You'll have a different quote expiration.
No, we've
Yeah.
already submitted the quote to the grant.
Correct.
Right, but
But once you purchase something, they won't give you the grant.
Right, so
money.
that's why we haven't
that's why
purchased
we
it.
have to wait. But my question is, will this quote still be valid when we get the grant money? Because one expires January 15th, the other January 30th. So is this company willing to?
So I did not ask if it would still be valid unto them, but what I did do when I got this quote updated, because initially I had one single quote for $126,000. I got on a group phone call with the company, with the grant writers and myself to break up the quotes on what was funded by grant, what was not funded by grant. This is the quote that he gave us, him knowing that we would not have approval for this grant until August, latest September. So that quote was given to us with him knowing that. So, and he did say, because that did go up a little bit from the initial quote he gave me in December. He said come January, the price goes up. Every year it goes up. So it's probably not changing at all for the entire year until the year ends.
But no guarantee, but you're
But
expected to
it-
have the same quote, should we ask in August when we finally get the grant approved?
Correct.
What are we gonna do if we don't get the grant?
Yeah.
We wouldn't purchase it.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
the grant writing company that we're using has 100% success rate in body cams, vests, and 2 other items that we're putting in for. They've never
Okay.
not gotten it. But if we don't get it, we're not purchasing it, right? That's just,
Okay.
we'll have to find some other route, but.
So tell us why we need a body cam system.
Okay, so, first and foremost, the body cam system that we have right now is Motorola. It's an end-of-life system. They no longer service them, they no longer do anything with these body cameras that we have. So I brought in Motorola to come and give us a demo on their newest stuff. I brought in Axon to come give us a demo on their stuff. Motorola's quote was a little bit cheaper than the Axon quote that you're seeing in front of you. However, Axon has what's called evidence.com. Both systems automatically upload to the cloud server. You don't have to purchase a server. Right now, the way I'm doing things, I take this body cam, I stick it on a docking station. I have to go every couple of weeks and buy a terabyte worth of card, plug it in, download all this body cam footage, put it on a terabyte, upload it to my computer, download it to another thumb drive, give it to the investigator so he can upload it and send it to the DA's office. These systems automatically upload to a cloud server, number one. Number two, Axon comes with evidence.com. which is the exact same evidence reporting system that the DA's office is using. Motorola did not. So though their quote was a little bit cheaper, I would have to turn around and purchase evidence.com on the side through Axon. So I would much rather, and that was gonna come out to be more expensive than the entire bundle that comes with evidence.com with Axon. So body cam footage wise, what we have now is end of life, doesn't work. The overall picture, Axon was a little bit cheaper because it comes already with evidence.com. Evidence.com cannot just be used for the body cam, but for the dash cams as well, and any other kind of evidence. If I scan this in, because it's a written statement that I got from you on scene, I can scan it in, submit it, evidence.com. I can grant access to the DA investigator, the ADA at the district attorney's office. If it was an incident that occurred with Bexar County or anybody else in our surrounding area, I can grant access to a certain deputy, a certain officer. They can access my evidence through evidence.com. So that's primarily why I chose Axon over Motorola. But we need new body cams. These are end of life.
Yeah, they're not servicing them.
When I was in the incident where we had the resisting arrest and that guy kicked me, my body cam caught nothing, even though it said it was recording. 0. So there's a lot of other safety features that come with these body cams, aside from the fact that they work as body cams. If this is a body cam and I'm wearing it, if the body cam is laid over for a certain amount of time, and you can set the amount of time, it's automatically going to tone out officer down so people can go to the GPS location and find that officer. If he had a heart attack or whatever the case may be and fell down in the grass.
So I just want to make sure that we understand the importance of that. When that incident with Officer Maldonado and they could not locate him, that would have been the opportunity for that GPS system to come to life.
The other things it has, officers in a pursuit. I could be sitting in the beach in Hawaii, and I get notified my officer's in a pursuit. I can log in from my phone and see his body cam footage of what's going on, and I can tell him, call dispatch, stop pursuit, it's getting in Santa, it's too dangerous, whatever the case may be. I have that option to do as well. It has a lot of other features and functions that have come out with these new versions opposed to what the old ones that we had.
Are you aware of any other cities, local police departments that are using Axon?
Everybody from Bexar County to Elmendorf to SAPD.
So we'd be in line with everyone else with this product.
Correct.
Okay.
If I may,
Yes.
I have no doubt you know what you're buying. I have no doubt that we need it. I just don't feel comfortable approving it at this time. Here it notes, estimated contract start date 3/15/25. I hate for them to come back and change things on us. I'd rather see this right before, or, at least before August. I mean, I don't feel comfortable, it's so many months out. I don't negate the fact that we need it or that it's great. I just don't feel comfortable bringing it to a council at this point.
So I think what the deal is, I had to submit this to the grant people.
Mm-hmm.
They had to go by something that we are saying, yes, this is what we want to purchase.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was going to be Motorola, whether it was going to be Axon, this is what we want to purchase. And I believe that's why I asked the mayor, can we present this to council because this is what I want to purchase? If it's a
Well,
yes, so that.
If this is the
which
quote you're
they've
going to
already-
present for the grant, I understand that.
Okay.
Go do your grant, get it approved. I just don't want to decide yes today because it might change by August, even if we get the grant.
Gotcha.
But it will, I don't think it would change materially.
We don't know.
But again, right?
How much would we have to pay if we're given the grant for each of these two quotes?
Well, the only quote we're discussing right now is the body cam. So for this body cam, if we were to receive the approval today, we would need at least a 12.5K match. Right, so this is just to authorize the match, which we've already authorized to submit the grant. So why we're splitting hairs of should we approve it now or should we approve it later, I can understand, certainly, because you're right, it could increase in the next 6 months. But materially, I don't think it will. And if it does, we bring it back to the table and we increase it. We're not spending the money today, nor in the next few weeks, at least the 12.5K, right? We're not doing that. We're gonna do that when we get approval.
They're matching 12.5, so we pick up the rest. That's-
No, we pay 12.5, the grant pays the rest.
So you're asking us to commit 12.5
It's a
to
25%
receive,
match.
to receive this,
We're not actually
This-
spending the money, we're
this
just
equipment
committing
in
it.
September.
Right,
Yeah, so basically
Well-
we're committing the funds, we're not
Yeah.
spending them.
Yeah,
Correct.
not until we get the approval of the
And if the
grant.
grant doesn't come through, we just
Then we don't do it.
right, yeah.
Correct.
So we could do,
So it,
we could do the motion to
And if
approve
the
it
grant does come
based on this
through,
quote
We got
with the
authorization.
grant
and they
only.
change the
With our
price
12.5,
Yeah.
whatever match.
We amend it.
We either, at that point, we can make a decision to increase our commitment or send the money back to the grant people.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be,
Yeah, if it jumps 5,000%, then no, we're not gonna do it.
yeah,
But if we don't commit the funds now, we might lose it, spend it elsewhere, or commit it elsewhere, but prior to the grant folks coming through in August or September.
Right.
Okay.
so in August, are we gonna find out if we got the grant or not?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
We will probably find out sooner, but it doesn't come available till August, latest September is what the grant company told me.
What we may look at too is, we may have year-end funds that we can allocate that weren't used
By August.
elsewhere.
okay, so,
So I guess, 12.5 for $50,000 worth of.
Yeah, I just want accountability as far as, did we get the grant, are we spending the 12 point,
Of course.
whatever?
No, of
You know,
course.
just at some point in time, get an update, because, I mean, here we are 6 months out approving something that may or may not happen.
Sure.
well,
I
if
think
it
that's-
doesn't
that's
happen, we
perfectly
don't
fair.
spend.
Right. And I won't pull it from you until we absolutely need to,
So
so.
what do we need to do then?
So this also is coming out of the investment,
No,
or
No.
just the one?
don't spend any more of the
Yeah.
money. Rick.
Hold up, Tom, that's not what we agreed.
That's why I said, he's talking to you about it, but you,
right.
it's like,
It's already, we're gonna bankrupt us.
Okay, then, I
Okay.
would move to approve the allocation of 25%, which is, according to the mayor, $12,500, to be reserved for the expenditure on these body cams if the grant is approved and the quote is still honored as written right now.
I'll second.
Right, so the motion by Alderwoman Madero and seconded by Alderman Lupino is to, let's see, accept, read it for me
The
one more
body
time.
cam grant.
To allocate,
Allocate.
because we're not spending it yet,
Right,
but to
right, right.
allocate $12,500,
Reserve.
25% of this quote for the purchase of the body cams for the police department on the condition that the grant is approved and the quote as written is honored when the grant is approved.
Okay. So the motion by Alderwoman Madero and second by Alderman Rapino is to allocate the 12.5K match
From the police department budget.
from the police department budget, so long as the grant is approved and the
quote.
quote is still honored. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
All those opposed? All right. Moving right along. All right, discuss and or possible action on the purchase of a dash cam system. So on this one, I just want to, from a financial perspective, it is a initial payment of $15,000, and these are a annual fee of the same amount of $15,000. Is that correct, Chief?
That is correct.
All right, so please explain to us why we need this.
So, again, the dash cams we have, Motorola brand, they're not end of life yet, but they're getting there. Let me explain the process of how I get video for the dash cam in the car.
5 years.
I have to take another thumb drive. I have to go to the car, I have to download hours of video onto a thumb drive. I have to be buying these terabyte thumb drives that are $85 to $100, depending on which ones you get every time. Upload that video from each unit, and each unit's gonna take a terabyte, we've got 4 units. Upload onto a thumb drive, bring it into the here, upload it to my computer to our, not evidence.com, but another version we have, which is called Evidence Library Express, which is a now end-of-life product. Upload it to that, download that to a thumb drive, give that to the investigator so it can then be submitted to the DA's office. The system's outdated, not working. I brought Motorola in to see their new stuff. I brought Axon to see their new stuff. Almost identical. Prices are almost identical. The difference with Axon is they are throwing in, not charging for what's called an LPR reader. The mayor had a chance to see what that does. An LPR reader, a license plate reader, and they will put on each of the dash cams, so every unit would have one. I don't know if you guys remember during my 2-year plan, I said I'd love to have an LPR reader. And I explained what they can do for Amber Alerts, Silver Alerts, BOLOs, be on the lookout, wanted people, whatever the case may be. Every unit will have one, because they are included on the dash cam. They come standard in an Axon dash cam. The other thing is, there's no more downloads, so let me get back to the LPR reader before I move on to that. When you're driving, it's constantly picking up every license plate that you see. It's picking it up, it's running it. If you happen to come across Silver Alert, it's going to notify you on the laptop, hey, or if you, a stolen vehicle, people put them all the time. NCIC, THIC, somebody steals your car. I'm not out there if I'm parked at a red light looking, because just because I know a car was stolen in San Antonio, I ain't looking for that car. If I happen to remember it, I may remember it, but that license plate reader is always looking for it, and then this computer is going to beep, tell me, stolen vehicle. That's the way it comes out. Now you know. So, it comes with LPR readers. Number 2, it is an automatic upload to the server when you park, and it goes straight to evidence.com again, because it's an Axon product. It goes to axonevidence.com, which can then be transferred to the DA's office. And that's the main reason why we need it.
And I will, just to add to the impact of it. So we were sitting here, they were giving us a demonstration. I gave them the license plate of my Ford Focus that I've only had for a year. And I don't drive very much into San Antonio because I pretty much stay around here. So when he typed in my license plate, he found it at the airport.
So the way this works is,
Track.
the LPR reader, any unit
It's
in
a
America
network.
that has an LPR reader on it, their vehicles are always picking up license plates. So if I put your license plate in there and you were in Colorado and you passed a police officer that had an LPR reader, it's going to tell me you were in Colorado day before yesterday on this highway, and it'll bring up the picture and show me, because when they brought up his Focus, guess what? In Virginia, there was a vehicle with the exact same license plate as his, but with Virginia tags. So it showed us both vehicles. So this one was in Virginia on this day, this one was in
So it
Texas
can't
on this day.
doesn't necessarily differentiate between states, but it can.
It's going to
But it
pick up
takes a
the
picture.
numbers,
There was a
right?
Yeah.
guy
So,
in there that looked like him.
No.
but
have no business in Virginia.
if you go through a checkpoint, you see all the things that are flashing when you go through like a Border Patrol checkpoint, or you cross over from the United States, from U.S. Customs, all those are LPR reader, license plate readers. So if we're looking for somebody, we can put it in there, and it's going to tell us, okay, they just crossed into Mexico on this day, this is the bridge they crossed, or whatever the case may be. They come in handy for all kinds of stuff, not just missing children or silver alerts, but
And then from your perspective, you can say, okay, if we have a suspect and we have a license plate, you can type it in and now it goes out.
to everybody who has one, and if it happens, if they happen to just be driving by it, then it's gonna alert them, hey, you know, whatever the case may be, Sandy Oaks is looking for this vehicle because of, you know, suspect in a shooting, whatever the case may be. Vehicles involved in whatever.
So that's one component of the necessity. The other part is really just the time savings.
Right,
savings
like I
and the
said, we
effort.
can't, downloading stuff, and it takes, to download one car will take about 6 hours, for one car. To download all the video footage onto a thumb drive takes about 6 hours. If the card gets full, which they usually run until the card gets full, and not card, but till the dash cam memory gets full, Then I gotta go out there, stick the card in there, it takes about 6 hours to download it. Then I gotta bring it in here and download it for another couple of hours onto my computer.
But it'll automatically be downloaded in and then put in the cloud.
This one would be downloaded on as soon as they park, so Jerry would have to put
Access points.
an access point outside. As soon as they are within range of that access point, so when they park it for the day, it's automatically uploading on a daily basis.
Now, this quote is for a 5-year contract, so we're committing to 5 years, and you're asking for 1 year worth of funding now. And will this be part of the police department's budget in future years?
So
We have the budget.
I will answer that question. So yes, the police budget will accommodate the 15,000 annually. However, I will have to ask Tom again
I
to
told
back
you.
us up. Huh?
I said, I told
To
you.
back us up this one time, because we don't have it today.
How much?
15.
In addition to
In
the
addition.
In addition to the
Yeah.
26, so he's wanting about 40 grand from you.
Shit.
Boy, Tom.
Okay,
Really?
all right, so you,
Wait a minute, let's go back and look at that investment. How much money did
How
we
much
have
did
there?
you have?
We got 140.
141.
41,000 you want?
You're
from
taking
me?
a third of it then?
40.
You're breaking us.
Yeah. you're
It's
taking
either
a
now
third of it.
or in the future.
Of course we must.
And we've been using these outdated systems
But I'll
for,
just get the 26, and then later we can get the additional, right? Or you want the
I
whole
don't need the
41
26
the
now.
26 now and the 15 now.
Okay.
Okay.
I know it sounds like my money, but.
Thanks,
Boy,
Dad.
it
No, but you
is.
still gotta
It
be,
is.
you're fiduciary, so I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
It's a
But the-
third of our investment.
Yeah, you
And
can
we are
park it
operating
now,
off
too.
of,
And how
10
soon
years.
are we gonna put that money back into the investments?
I tell
We'll
them I
have to look
want
at year end.
That's what I'm
We
saying.
have to
putting
look at
money
year
in
end.
every
Year end.
month.
Come year end, we need to replenish the investment fund.
Yeah.
I will go ahead and say that the money that's in the investment fund was a year-end overage that has just sat there. We have not continued to do that. We have 0 capital improvement plans. Okay? I'm getting notices continually about my Windows 10 is about to expire. There ain't gonna be no more updates. They're not gonna support it.
Yeah, I know.
And I believe that's what all of our computers are here. Do we have a Windows 11 computer?
Yeah, Jerry's put
How
some of the
long
latest.
before we've gotta replace servers? How long before
We're getting a lot of
If-
stuff out of date.
if we can
Right.
update our existing computers to 11, how much longer
Oh,
are we
Computers.
gonna
spending
continue
my
to do
money.
that? And some of our computers now, we're looking at 7, 8 years old. And, you know, realistically, we're looking at end of life cycles. So we need to consider, I mean, I'm
My-
sold, we need this,
Yeah,
but we need to consider
everything.
how are we gonna recoup our investment fund, because we need to be looking at that investment fund for some capital assets.
Yeah.
These are operating assets. Well, the CAM at 15 grand a year, that's an operating,
We do get a
expense.
credit, right? I think there's a buyback program for what we do have. I know that's
Correct,
what,
yes.
I mean, it ain't much, but it's still a portion.
Actually, no, that was with Motorola, because we have
Oh,
Motorola
that's
now.
right, you're right.
No, we're going with Apple.
Right, so they would buy back.
Okay, let's go.
Well, you know the plan to spend and how we want to spend, so I could take a motion if anybody would like to dare do so.
Oh, well, after all that, I move that we proceed with the 5-year contract with Axon for the dash cams.
Do we have to approve the withdrawal from the investment?
And
Well, it'll be a part of it.
$274.20 from the investment fund in order to pay for the first year of this contract.
Everybody doing that?
And pool $15,274.20 from the investment fund.
Let's make it 15. make it
Alderwoman
easy.
Madera would like to make a motion.
I move to approve that we accept this proposal for a 60-month contract with Axon for the vehicle cameras and pull $15,274.20 from the investment fund in order to pay for the first year and ensure that the remaining years are coming from the police department budget.
Can I get a second?
Oh, I'll second
You will
that.
second. So I got a motion from Alderwoman Madero and a second from Alderman Fillinger to accept the quote for the dash cam system and to take or withdraw $15,274.20 from the investment fund to purchase the system, and with the remaining balance to come out of the police department budget. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you, guys. You don't know how critical these items are and to the success of our department.
We didn't.
Our police department.
Yep. All right, so let's go ahead and break off into 13A, executive session to deliberate and change in compensation for Public Works, City Secretary, Court Clerk, Police Department, Corporal, and related matters pursuant to Texas Open Meeting Act 5, Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. It is now 8:56. We are in session. You got it.
What happened to our
All
little
right, the
thing?
time is now 9:15. We are in session. At this time, we are going to take a 5-minute adjournment. We will see you back at 9:20.
Because you hit it twice.
All right, time is now 9:20. We are back in session. Moving right along to agenda item 13C and D, we are going to pull those items to no longer be discussed. We're going to pull item G to no longer be discussed. We are going to postpone H, which leads us to agenda item E, 13E, discuss and or consider driveway inspection permits fee for the city engineer inspection. So on this one, the fee from the engineer was $650 for the inspection fee. Do we want to translate that to our master fee schedule, or do we want to increase it to account for our processes and time
So
and effort?
does that $650 doesn't apply to every driveway permit? And if I recall from our previous conversation, we would have our public works director go out and determine whether or not it would require the engagement of the engineer to do this. And would the engineer necessarily have to do everything listed in that $650 estimate that he gave you? Or could, in some instances, Priscilla, the public works director, indicate that only a portion of that work would be required?
I mean, I think if it's a one-for-one swap, meaning they have a culvert and they're gonna replace it, I don't see why we would charge anything.
So why don't we establish a minimum amount and the maximum amount being the $650? Is that something that we can do on our fee schedule, saying that the permit fee, based on the initial review of the public works director, will be a range from $20 to $650? I mean, is that something that the city can do?
I would like to at least account for our overhead. So to say, let's just say, the one that's a brand new driveway, $650 is basically for us to cut the check to the engineer. We still have to go out there, we have to do our inspection, we have to engage, we have to print out the form. So I mean,
And it'll be a couple hours worth of our public works director's
Yeah.
time too, so we can say a minimum of $50 to $1,000 to do a driveway permit.
I think that's fair. I don't know how we draw that out though.
Yeah, but can we do it that way in our fee schedule? Are we allowed to be that?
I think,
Attorney
yeah, there is
question?
a range, because, you know why I say that? Because on the pool, there's a pool ordinance, and it allows for a range depending on the number of gallons. So why couldn't we?
Depending on the amount of work required by the city engineer?
Correct,
And by the city employees would be the appropriate way to word that.
correct.
Can we get a reading on that from our attorney? Is she on board?
Okay.
I think the engineer has given us a fixed fee if he comes out.
Correct, but he wants to include our city's overhead as well. That's why I'm saying 50 to 1,000.
We've got to pay our employees one way or the other. I don't think we need to be incorporating our city employee
Well, I think we do.
cost.
I think we do. Because there ain't no such thing as a free lunch. Okay? If we assign this duty to this person, like we're buying dash cams, if we don't do that, we're gonna end up hiring somebody else at $20,000 just to do the stuff that the chief's having to do now, because he can't continue to do that. If we now pick up additional duties, how long before we're gonna have to hire someone else in Public Works to pick up that slack? It's not like we have people just sitting around waiting for some chore to come up.
And so that's where, if it's a $650 fee, that's where you need to call in the engineer whenever there's any question about what needs to be done, because that $650 is gonna be,
And,
we're gonna collect it, and then we're gonna cut him a check for it.
well, and I agree with that, but prior to, do we need the engineer, or can we say, you can do this as, you can do this driveway without a culvert? And I think any of our public works people could go out there and make that determination. Then why would we collect an engineering fee when there's no engineering involved? At the same time, I think, we should have a minimum permit fee of $50 for our people to go out and look at it before they do it and after they do it. Because if we say, yeah, you could follow the contour of the grade, and they come in and fill the ditch, we're gonna have to do a follow-up. So I'm thinking a $50 permit fee,
Minimum $50, maximum $650.
700.
700.
Okay,
So,
so, Delma just indicated that the Zoom was on mute, so Cassandra's asked me to repeat the question that I had posed earlier. So if I could do that, Alderman, I'm sorry to interrupt you. So I was just inquiring whether or not we could do in our fee schedule for the culvert, for the driveway culvert permit, to do a fee range of, say, $50 to, I guess now we're setting at $700. Can we say a fee of $50 to $700 based on the amount of effort required from the city employees to
Analysis.
Analyze and approve the permit? Is that allowed?
You can do something like that if it's also clear as to what it would take, if it's based on an hour, so many hours that are involved, or so many persons involved. It should be clear as to what would trigger what fee within that range.
Okay, so the fact that it would require an engineer analysis would trigger the higher rate.
Right.
So we would have to specify that minimum of 50 up to 700 if the city engineer is required to do an analysis. Would that be
Correct.
sufficient? Okay.
Yes.
I was
All right.
thinking
If I may.
1,000.
Aaron, I'll-
so we know that if there's an engineer involved, we pay out $650
Yep.
to the engineer.
Correct.
If there isn't, how is that allocated under the Public
take
Works
$50.
budget? Or how?
It's just the $50.
Well,
So-
where does
But
it
still,
go?
where does it go? It
General
goes to
fund.
the general fund.
General fund.
Goes to the
General fund.
So should we just do
You
it
see?
as a $50 permit fee and then a $650 fee if
Well-
the engineer has to go out and do an analysis?
What I'm
Yeah,
thinking
we
is
wanna
you're saying that we need,
impoverish our citizens.
excuse me, you said that we need to give credit where credit is due. You say we need to compensate her for the extra work. You just said that, that's why we're doing this range now. And now you're saying the monies go to general fund and not to her department?
Oh, no, she's getting paid
Yeah,
No,
mean-
but this is a fee that she's collecting.
for the city.
For the city, not,
Yeah. It's not a bird dog fee.
Okay, then why did you say that we were trying to compensate her?
No, the city needs to be compensated.
I'm trying to recoup the cost to the city.
To have her out there?
City.
To have her out there.
Okay,
Not.
okay,
not
because
to-
you said, you know, she's doing extra work, you
Not a
know,
bonus.
it made it sound like,
Yeah.
it made it sound like,
It's
you know.
not a bonus. It's
You're
a-
No,
putting her in business for her.
No, I was just saying because of the wording you
I
used.
know.
And
You know,
if an engineer
why
is
the range?
required, then it will be an engineer.
Completely understood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so instead of a range, we just do a simple, the
Driveway-
culvert
driveway
driveway fee,
permit.
permit fee is $50. An additional $650 will be assessed if
For
an
engineering
engineering
fee.
analysis is required.
Better,
Daniel's
better.
opinion or whatever.
I think that's
Sounds
best.
good.
All right, I move to
move on.
update the city fee schedule to indicate the fee for the driveway and culvert ordinance,
Permit.
number, what was that ordinance
Is it
number?
good?
The fee associated with ordinance 2024-246, permit is $50 with an additional $650 required if the city engineer is required to do an analysis.
Right.
I'll second.
Okay, so I have a motion from Alderwoman Madero and a second from Alderman Rapino to create a fee schedule for driveway inspection permits of $50 to $700. Is that correct? Because it would be the R50 plus the $650.
Right, but I am moving to have those items entered as two separate.
Two separate. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So
Not a
$50
range.
for a.
So it's very clear to the citizens.
Okay.
Driveway permit, $50.
Culvert fee.
Engineering culvert fee,
Right.
$650.
Yep. So to reflect the master fee schedule to reflect a $50 driveway permit fee and a engineering inspection fee of $650.
You got it.
Yeah. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? All right. All right, last one. 13F. Discuss and possible action on 2024-248 establishing regulations on the certificate of occupancy. So if you remember, I alluded to last time, Bear County Fire Marshal no longer provides certificate of occupancies. They will come and do the inspection on our behalf and provide recommendations. They will list all the items that they need to address before anybody can be issued a certificate of occupancy. At this
Sir,
point,
Sir,
yes.
if I could,
Yes.
this ordinance was not included in the package.
Not an ordinance, it's,
It is an ordinance in the package in front of us, but it wasn't an ordinance in the email, sir. So
Right.
I have not had time to read this.
Me either. That was my
Should have been
report.
included.
The package.
Oh, you're right.
The attachment to the package was
You're
the
right.
same item that we were provided at the last meeting.
You're right, you're
So
right,
I
you're right.
request that we postpone this to give everyone on the council an opportunity to read it. I will be
Agreed.
sure to take it with me, so I am prepared, regardless of which version we receive. So, sir, I move to postpone this
You're right.
until everybody on the council has had an opportunity to review it.
Okay, you're right, because yeah, it came in late. All right, so we'll postpone F. Well, all that's left is 14.
I move to adjourn.
The motion is approved at 9:32 p.m.
Recording stopped.
So,
Barn burner.